Why, hello, and welcome to the Captain's Cast. With me, unmuted. Hi. How are you? Hang on. Captain's microphone's a little bit out of sorts. There we go. There, that's better. That's right. Captain Garrett of the Swords and Starships channel. I think I need a swing arm microphone. That would be better. There it is. Oh, yes, much better. Very prepared. Welcome to the Captain's Cast on the Swords and Starships channel. I am your host, Captain Garrett, and we are talking about so many things tonight on a Saturday night. I just finished Predator Badlands. Predator Badlands, the Disneyfication of absolutely everything is complete. Disney is a terrible company. It is literally going to turn every single thing we love into stuffed animals. That we will talk about. But there is big news. Godzilla Minus One is getting a sequel, and we have a title. And I'm very excited to share that with you. And we have another great thing to talk about, which is a brilliant film I just finished. It's in the running for the top films of the year. That would be Guillermo Del Toro's Frankenstein. Guillermo Del Toro, I have been a fan of this filmmaker for a long time. He has such an original, stylish vision, and it is very nice to see that he has not lost a step. And this is... Pan's Labyrinth is one of the great films of all time, and Frankenstein is just sensationally entertaining to watch. So let me get my chat, Mr. Producer. I don't have the chat up yet, and that is terrible because for all I know, I could be muted again. I wasn't muted last week. That was a loose wire, but I could have a loose wire, and how would I know? How would I know? So it's very important. Okay, there we go. Ahoy, Michael Archangel says, let's go. I like the energy, Michael Archangel. Good to see you. Welcome aboard. Permission to come aboard granted, sir. Starfury is aboard. Permission to come aboard granted, sir. Fu Man Blue, permission granted. Michael Archangel. Who else is in the chat? Redoubt Productions has got to be out there somewhere. More big stompy monster. You're so happy, Starfury? Oh, it is amazing. We have a title. We have a title, Starfury. Godzilla Minus Zero. And there's something hidden in the title that's very intriguing. And I'm going to share that with you very soon. Now, Michael Archangel says, I felt guilty only giving it 15 minutes of my time before I bailed. Was that K-pop Demon Hunters? Thank you for reminding me about this, Fu Man Blue. Because I have a plan. Captain has a plan for K-pop Demon Hunters. We are going to do a members only, that would be for the senior staff on the Swords and Starships channel. We are going to do a watch along. Because I have not finished it. I've not completed it. And I was going to watch it in advance of this stream, but I had Frankenstein to watch, and I had Predator Badlands to watch, and just wait till we get into that one. So we're going to do a K-pop Demon Hunters watch-along. You're going to watch me watching it, and I can't leave. I can't stop it. I have to go all the way to the end. And I will. I will. That is my promise and my pledge. That's how FDR used to say it. Fu Man Blue is a fan. Fu Man Blue is a fan of K-pop. Crowbar the Skull is in the chat. Says, hail, Captain. Ahoy, Crowbar the Skull. Welcome aboard. Where here on the Swords of Starships channel, permission to come aboard is never required, but always granted. Staffhide says, nice to see the usual suspects in the chat. Welcome, you fracking reprobates. I heartily agree, Staffhide. What else we got? Everyone bring your... I missed that part. The chat jumped on me. Starfury says, I'm unhappy with the title Minus Zero. Does not exist mathematically, so makes my teeth itch. Oh come on. Come on, Starfury. You can't be that precious about it. Fu Man agrees with him. Minus Zero. I mean, okay, is it the most creative title ever? I guess maybe not. But you know what? Here's what I like about it. Would you like to hear what I like about it? Of course you would, because you're watching the Swords of Starship channel on a Saturday night. Why? I don't know. But let me do the best I can here. I like it because it signals to me that Maestro Takashi Yamazaki is dedicated to producing an installment which is like exactly in line with the Minus One universe, the Minus One motifs and themes. Like the thematic elements and tone are going to be there, and that's what I want. It's not so much that I want a sequel to Godzilla. I want a sequel to Godzilla Minus One, which is I consider it in my top 10 best films of all time. It's like one of my favorite films I've ever seen. I love that movie so much. So I am very reassured that Minus Zero signals to me that we are just moving right along. Michael Archangel, I'm more on your level here. I went to art school to avoid any math possible. I hate math. I was terrible at it. So let's jump into the stack of stuff. The stack of stuff is packed today, and I don't think we're going to get to all of it. There's just way too much. I had way too much. We have Godzilla. We have Guillermo Del Toro. We have Predator Badlands to meme on, and we have we have some shills. There's already shippers. Do you realize there are already Raylos for Predator Badlands? These people are sick, man. They have a sickness. They're already shipping the Predator character deck. The character's name is Deck. Like, is it the dumbest movie I've ever seen? Actually, not real. No, it isn't. That's not saying a lot. Trust me. It's not the dumbest film I've seen all year. That's for sure. It's pretty dumb. It's not as dumb as Alien Earth. I will give it that. But it's in that ballpark because we have aliens that are now trained as pets. We have pet aliens that go and fetch things for the synths. And now we have a predator that saves cute aliens and their mothers. What? But this is the thing. The most depressing thing about it? People fucking love it. People love this shit. They absolutely love it. What is it? There is a great man once had a quote along these lines that was very correct about this.
Oh, you think it's slop. That's fine. But we live in a world full of hogs.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That is exactly like there was clapping in the theater at the end of the film, and I thought to myself, exactly that.
Oh, you think it's slop. That's fine. But we live in a world full of hogs.
They are Disney. Disney is so evil, folks. You can't even overestimate how evil this company is. They're taking every single science fiction, cosmic horror films, and they are turning them into Disneyland. Like, for real. They're turning them into Disney characters. It's incredible. They are dumbing down. They are turning the minds of film viewers, what few there are left, into absolute mush. And I got to tell you something. It's like Reaper indoctrination, which, don't let me forget, I have Mass Effect news for you as well. Yesterday was N7 Day. Happy N7 Day. It's like Reaper indoctrination. You watch Predator Badlands, and you can't help but get a little pulled in. That would be me. I couldn't help but get a little pulled in at parts because it does follow the path of sort of a classic Golden Fleece story in which the Predator is on a hunt and wants to redeem himself and get revenge for the death of his brother. It's all very obvious and cliched. It's an extremely hackneyed story, but there are moments in it which are kind of cool. Like, I will say the visuals were very cool. The music was very cool. And there were a couple of scenes where, like, the Predator's arming up and getting all of his gear. But then as I'm watching it, I'm like, but this story is so completely outside of the visceral, terrifying horror and dread of the Predator films. I like this is basically, you want to know what it is? You could take a Na'vi from Pandora, that would be the Avatar universe, the blue people. You could take a Na'vi character and drop him in the same story, and it's the same thing. It would be the exact same thing. It's basically, they basically turned the Predators into the Na'vi. Now, there's another I guess we're talking about Predator Badlands. Now, there's another really odd thing in this movie, which it's top of mind because I just watched it. There's another really odd thing. All of the characters that are humanoid, well, that's the wrong word, but the human-looking characters are all synthetics. They're all robots. Now, they just did this with Alien Derp. Alien Derp. I can never decide what to call it. Alien Derp. This is exactly what they did. All the main characters are synthetics. Now, this got me thinking. This is a weird trend, is it not? This is really bizarre. We're reaching a point in which modern writers can't even write characters that are human at all. It used to be. It used to be the absolute gold standard in storytelling. In fact, this is one of the reasons why it was hard as Trek and Star Wars fans to get truly interesting alien stories, or even the Transformers. The Transformers fans, it was hard to get stories about just the Transformers in live action because the conventional wisdom was that the audience cannot relate to a non-human character. In fact, James Cameron I wouldn't say James Cameron himself, but critics of James Cameron in advance of the Avatar film, the first one coming out, were worried. Yes, hail the Roach King, Michael Archangel. Hail the Roach King. They were worried that the audience would not be able to relate to blue people. And I think all of us in this chat can agree that we all love the Na'vi, and we love rooting for them in this chat. No, I'm just kidding. Jeez. Settle down. But my point is, the movie made like $1 billion gazillion and proved all that wrong. So it used to be you couldn't make a movie just focused on a Transformer or just focused on a kaiju or just about the alien. You couldn't do that. You had to have a human character to anchor the audience in a human experience. Now, they're making all of these Predator and alien stories, and they're not even putting humans in it. They're all robots. And I started to think, this is a sign of the times, is it not? We are becoming synthetics ourselves. We don't have human stories anymore. And I will tell you, the robot chick in this Predator movie is so annoying. She's like, it's classic millennial humor garbage, but she's perky. And she thinks it's all super fun. She's the worst. She's the lowest common denominator. This character is in every single Marvel movie. She's in every single modern slop Star Wars project. She's in everything now. She's everywhere you look. She's the perky girl who is going to help you get in touch with your trauma. She literally gets the Predator to trauma dump. It's so obnoxious. If I were the Predator, I would have tore her head off by now. She sits there and she's like, tell me about the death of your brother. And the Predator's like, and she's like, how did it feel when your daddy killed your brother? And won't you tell me about it? I'm like, oh my God. They're getting the Predator to trauma dump. I gotta tell you, by the end of the movie, the Predator, there's not a single human character in this movie, but there's like hundreds of synths, right? And this guy, this Predator, he ends the movie basically going to save the Callisk, which is this indestructible alien that originally he was going to fight, which is as Disney a creature as you've ever seen. And he's going to save it because he's made friends with its cub. So he's going to save the Callisk and the robot babe and kill the head synth chick. And and he's made friends with the baby Callisk, which, by the way, is like a Baby Yoda type character. It's super cute and does funny, stupid little things that annoy the Predator. What does it come to? What does it come to, chat? We're in deep doo-doo. We have pet aliens, and now we have predators. Oh, this is the best part. Wait to hear this. Spoilers for Predator Badlands. I know that's really gonna be sad if I spoil anything. He goes home. So the setup to the film was, this is the runt of the litter, this Predator. He's a weakling, and his father orders his big brother to kill him because he's a weakling. But his big brother defies his father, and his father kills the big brother, allowing the main character to escape and go on his hunt and claim his trophy so he can join his clan. But instead, of course, he gets back home, and his trophy is the head of the evil synth that he killed, and he kills his father. He kills his father, and his father's like, well, you could have, before he gets killed, his father's like, you could join our clan now. You've proven yourself. And he says, I have my own clan. And his own clan now consists of the baby Callisk, which has gotten bigger, and the synthetic babe. And the final shot of the film is this ominous ship landing, and the synthetic babe, who is as perky as ever, it's like, oh, who is that? Is that a friend of yours? And Deck, the main character, the Predator, he says, it's my mother. Wah, wah. And that's the end of the movie. Oh, fuck. Oh, no, they think they're going to make 7 of these. Do you realize this? They think they're going to make 7 of these. They think there's going to be a Predator multiverse. And for all I know, they may be right. They may be right. Fu Man Blue, you are too kind. Thank you, Fu Man Blue. Says, follow Captain Garrett's starfaring novel series Galaxyborn at www.galaxyborn.com. That's www.galaxyborn.com. That's how they would advertise websites in the late 90s and the early 2000s. There would be TV ads, and they never said it like a normal person did. They always said it just like www. And you had to say the 3 W's, and you had to say that you had to dial up your internet. Dial up onto your internet and go to www.galaxyborn.com. Go now. That's how they always said it. Does everything have to be a multiverse? Now, Starfury, to be in the defense of Predator Badlands, they didn't establish a multiverse. But I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to, maybe not a multiverse, but it's going to be a franchise. You know, it's going to be like Deck is going to show up in one of the AVP movies. And that's, jeez. This is rich. You'll love this. There's 2 synthetic babes. One of them is the perky companion one. And her sister, who looks just like her, is the evil synthetic babe who's doing Wayland Yutani's bidding. And the evil synthetic babe, to fight the Predator, gets into a giant machine that looks like the thing Ripley fought the Queen Alien in, the walking, what would you call it? The mech that Ripley was in at the end of Aliens. Well, this synthetic babe gets in one that's like giant, like it's way bigger, and it's got guns and saws and everything. And it's like, you like this, don't you? This is what you like. This is, sometimes I almost feel sorry for these dumb writers, is they probably think that this is fan service. To be honest with you, they think this is fan service. They're like, this is what you wanted to see. You wanted to see what the thing that Ripley was in, but bigger and better. And a part of me is like, well, I mean, I get that you're trying, but that's not... You turned the Predator into a cute... He adopted a baby alien on his quest. Yeah, and he killed stuff. No, the Predator is a terrifying, malevolent, cold-blooded killer. It has nothing but disdain for life. Well, I know, but, even predators have feelings. Oh, you just don't get it, Disney. You just don't get it. Crowbar the skull. Disney's desecration of Predator has only just begun. I don't understand why they do that. I seriously don't understand why they're doing this. If you want a story about cute alien adventures, why not go get why not use Star Wars? Oh, wait, because you destroyed that. Why not just create something? Why not create something about aliens on a hunt? I don't understand why you go buy a horror movie franchise, a monster in the house horror movie franchise, and turn it into a cute friends we made along the way adventure. But I think it's a larger sign of the times, because this is what they've turned Jurassic World into. The same thing. They've turned Jurassic Park into raptors are now pets. Xenomorphs are now pets. Predators are now collecting pets instead of killing them. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Yes, Michael Archangel, the Predator Christmas special. It's gonna happen, man. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be on Disney Plus. So Starfury says, unless I can have delicate relations with the synthetic babe, I really do not want to know. As Data said, I am fully functional. Well, I mean, it's a hot actor that plays her. Santa's head on top of the tree, Michael Archangel. Well, that would be in keeping with the Predator, but unfortunately, there's a lot of like MCU humor kind of stuff in this Predator movie, and it's bad. It's really bad. But what's funny about it is it actually could be kind of interesting to do a dark comedy with Predator if it were done in a way that was just bloody and gory and dark and like gallows humor. You'd have to do it like gallows humor, but in this it's like it's friends we made along the way. This is Predator friends we made along the way. It's fucking bad. It's so bad. Wow, Star Fury with quite the colorful comment. Disney is about to gang you-know-what and sell the Predator franchise into sexual slavery. Fu Man Blue says, I love the new edgelord post-drama at Star Fury. Yes. What else do we have? Let me grab this real quick, because we might as well. I mean, I have the website. I can show you. We need music for this, Mr. Producer. Do I have good music for this? I probably do. That would do. We'll just do that. Where is... That's right, Galaxy Born. So check out the website. We're going to talk about Frankenstein and Godzilla next. But just a quick note. If you're tired of the Disneyfication of Predator and aliens, and for that matter, Star Wars, if you're tired of, Kurtzman Trek, well, I'm working on a science fiction universe, a starfaring universe, a military science fiction story. Here's the cover. That's our bad guy. That's our captain and first officer. She's the one on the left. That's the first officer. That's right. After a blood-soaked year of killing slaver cartels, all Captain Sadler and his starship crew want is a little rest at home. Instead, a warlord of the Rokoi race launches a surprise attack with a big enough army to slaughter every man, woman, and child on their planet. Pre-order campaign launching soon. Enter your email address for updates. You don't want to miss this. Alrighty, so we fairly covered Predator Badlands. I mean, we might as well just get into it with the Grizzy shills, because we have Grizzy shills. There is a type of fan that loves Disney's version of the Predator. They think it's great. You know those hogs that we were talking about, that Baldy was talking about? Well, they're also what's known as a shill. They suffer from a terrible disease. It's called shillery by proxy. It is congenital, incurable, and the prognosis is grim. Fortunately for us, there is a man who studies this disease, and his name is Mr. Grizzy. All right, kill the music, Mr. Producer. Okay, we're share audio. So apparently, Grace Randolph is our very first shipper. That's right, we have shippers. We have Predator shippers.
So the early reviews for Predator Badlands are in, and despite them being overwhelmingly positive, I think we can all agree that there definitely are some red flags if you look at some of these reviews closer.
Redoubt Productions is in the chat. Says, have no fear, for the self-anointed king of the SNS podcast chapter of the K-pop Demon Hunters fan club has arrived. And don't forget, Redoubt, in case you missed it, we're going to do a watch party this week for members of K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm going to sit through the whole thing, and I'm going to watch it with you. I'm thinking Tuesday night. I'm thinking Tuesday night around this time. What's that, Fu Man? I second that appointment. Holy crap, there's a fan club for K-pop Demon Hunters, asked Michael Archangel. Oh, yes. It's basically here. Redoubt Productions loves it. Star Fury loves it. Fu Man Blue loves it. I'm like one of the only ones that couldn't get through the first 5 minutes. Not because it's bad, but because it's just, not my thing. We'll get to see the captain cry, maybe. We'll see. Probably. As long as it's after 5:30 p.m. Eastern, I shall be there. It will be.
Especially when Grace Randolph kicks off her review saying this.
Did Predator just get Disney-fied? Yes, it did. There's no denying it. That is exactly what has happened.
So Predator has now been Disney-fied, which, as you and I both know, hasn't been a winning formula for other franchises. However, according to Grace, this film doesn't tie into any of the other Predator movies at all.
I learned a lot about Predator lore. Some of you might be like, how did you not know this going in?
Okay, so this is the one thing I will say, that I told you that like elements of this film were starting to kind of pull me in a little. And what was pulling me in was some of the Predator lore. And it was interesting to me to kind of see how they live and what their society is like, because, of course, there's that mystery and curiosity. But that was quickly mitigated by the fact that I then realized that this is exactly what will destroy this franchise, because the Predator is not meant to be a protagonist. The Predator is an antagonist. The Predator is meant to represent our dread and our fears as humans. And so in the same way that making, the perfect example, Godzilla is the result of humans experimenting with nuclear weapons. He represents our sin as a species. He represents our violent nature come back to haunt us. That's what makes it such a meaningful and interesting story. And yes, occasionally he fights Mothra and all that sort of thing. And that's fine. Nobody's saying you can't have a little fun. But I'm saying the heart and soul of the Godzilla mythos is that he represents our sin. And the Monarch universe, that would be the American Godzilla films, they changed it. They retconned it. so that all of the kaijus naturally feed on radiation, and the nuclear testing at Bikini Atoll was not what created Godzilla, it was what they were doing it to try and kill Godzilla. This completely inverts the morality of the Godzilla mythos and strips it of all of its moral weight. And I am saying that that is the same problem that you have with showing the predators as protagonists. You are stripping out the very element of the story that makes it mysterious and interesting, which is that we are the hunted, and we're not used to that. I don't think these movies need any more sequels. I just don't. But even if they did, there's a better way to get at this.
Well, I know it now, thank you very much. And by the way, you don't have to have seen a single Predator movie to get this one. It is a total standalone film, an entry point movie. You can just go in and have a good time.
Now, I don't know about all of you, but to me, describing the film in that way screams Disney rebrand. Especially when Grace Randolph walks out of the movie and in her non-spoiler review uses terms like modern elements and modern themes to target the
modern audiences.
Oh my God.
I think it's that kind of creativity that has allowed Dan Trachtenberg to win over a fair amount, not all of them, but a fair amount of original Predator fans, even as he introduces more modern elements and themes into the franchise.
Oh.
What's O?
What?
No, what's O? You just said O.
No, I said oh.
Oh, like that's interesting, or oh, like we're screwed?
Now, of course, the trick to expanding a franchise's fan base is not to lose or tick off the original fans as you bring in new ones.
Which, ironically, is exactly what Grace herself did on social media. Going on X and calling anyone who dares criticize Predator Badlands part of the incel brigade.
Very original, Captain.
And then, in typical Grace Randolph fashion, of course, proceeds to call the robot companion for the Predator his girlfriend. And in a follow-up tweet, advocates for a romance between the Predator and the synthetic robot.
Bitch, shut up.
You know, because WandaVision happened, therefore that makes this okay. And that anyone who doesn't support this forward-thinking storytelling is a hater.
I hate you, I don't even know you, and I hate your guts.
I'll admit, as a female...
Wrangler is in the chat. Ahoy, Wrangler. Welcome aboard. Wow. This woman. She already is misrepresenting the story, because she's saying that what was the name of the robot babe? I don't know what her name was, but the synthetic babe was his girlfriend, but she's not. She's just he refers to her as a tool, which I enjoyed quite a bit. But she's only ever a friend that he meets along the way. So we already have shippers. We have shippers that want the Predator to mate with the synthetic. We don't even have human characters. We have no human characters anymore. None.
Viewer Elle Fanning is what really made this movie pop for me. She is just so good, as I said. Her futuristic athletic clothing with the thumb holes.
I fingered myself so hard I broke a nail.
Elle, you look amazing. She had the thumb holes. I was loving it. Girl, you look good. Where are you getting that stuff?
Damn whore.
So naturally, she proceeded to get trolled by just about everyone on the internet over this, because basically, in a nutshell, Grace just simply doesn't understand the Predator movies, and actually believes in her own delusional universe that fans of the original movies would be fine with a Predator-synthetic romantic relationship, with, of course, the intention of bringing in modern new audiences.
Now, of course, the trick to expanding a franchise's fan base is not to lose or tick off.
Yes, this was Grizzy's tweet. It's so funny. If Predator 1987 were made for Grace Randolph.
The original fans.
Good luck.
Anyway, that's Grace Randolph on Predator Badlands. Hey, at least she didn't say it was better than the original.
Starfire says, there isn't enough AI to be able to make that thing presentable. It's those eyes, the eyes of a mass murderer. The Predator or Grace Randolph? Starfire.
Right?
While the first Predator movie is, of course, absolute cinema, right? This is my favorite Predator movie. I haven't seen the first in a really long time.
These are the people. People like her are who are making these things. That just tells you all you need to know. They're so dumb.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite Predator movie of all time. To be fair, I haven't seen the first one in maybe ever, but I like this one.
Oh, great. Oh, that's so... She's like the laziest reviewer ever. She's so lazy. She never has to have any investment in anything. She never worries about anything being authentic to its source material. She just wings it all the time. She's such a lazy reviewer. It's so funny.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.
Hat tip Mr. Grizzy with an excellent report on Grace Randolph attempting to ship the Predator with the synthetic babe. Man, it's tough out there, boys. It is really tough out there. I don't know what to tell you. Hey, I got some news for you, though. So we're going to talk about Godzilla Minus One. And check out what else I found. Yesterday was N7 Day. Let me see if I can pull this up for you. It's sort of good news and bad news. Hang on. Why can't I get... I cannot get rid of this, Mr. Producer. There we go. I'm trying to find the post. There it is. I found it. It's a message from Mike Gamble, who is... What is his role? Executive producer of Mass Effect. Yes, let me grab that, Mr. Producer. Cough button. Share screen. Okay, so as you know, yesterday was N7 Day. What is N7, you may ask? Well, if you know that, then you haven't played much Mass Effect, and you haven't exhaustively read the codex in the Mass Effect games. But suffice it to say, N7 is an elite special forces training program for humans in the Mass Effect future that specializes in warfare on alien planets. The main character, Commander Shepard, that you play as is an N7. Well, essentially there are 7 ranks, right? N1 through N6 is special forces. N7 is the highest possible proficiency of special forces, meaning you're basically the most badass out there. And so you play as Commander Shepard, who is an N7 Marine, and that's why it's awesome. So November 7th is, of course, N7 Day. And in keeping with tradition, BioWare always they throw out a little bit of a tease, just a little tease for the fans here and there. And this is what came out yesterday. Happy N7 Day, everyone. You guessed it, I come to you with another blog. But each year that I write these, they are important moments of reflection for me. This is Mike Gamble speaking. I get to pause and think about how truly lucky we are to have Mass Effect, and how thankful we are for the community and support that we get. We've been through a lot together, and we appreciate you. Like you, we've heard the rumors lately. You've made it clear that you care deeply about what's next. Close quote for a second. I swear to God, if you MFers veil guard this thing, if you think I was mad about what you did to Dragon Age, if you veil guard Mass Effect, oh boy. Open quote. So let's start by setting the record straight. The next Mass Effect game is in development, and EA and BioWare remain committed to telling more stories in this universe. The truth is, the last few years have been an incredibly busy time at BioWare, transing the Veilguard game and talking about pulling a Barv. But currently, the team is heads down and focused exclusively on Mass Effect. Close quote for a second. This is something that will never stop baffling me. You have BioWare that they built their entire brand on Baldur's Gate. Let's see. They did Baldur's Gate, Knights of the Old Republic. Then they absolutely take the world by storm with Dragon Age Origins, which is one of the greatest games of all time, and the Mass Effect trilogy, which is my favorite video games of all time. It's not even close. It's not even close. I've played that whole trilogy probably 100 times at least, all the way through. It's kind of sick, if you want to be honest. Everyone wants Mass Effect. Mass Effect is a mega popular franchise. Mega popular. It is a license to print money. I cannot understand how they have spent a decade not releasing another Mass Effect. Like, after the Mass Effect, I guess a decade. Yeah, it's been about a decade, because what? Andromeda came out maybe 2017, if memory serves. It's been almost a decade. Andromeda came out. It had some problems. It had some bugs and some weird animation problems. The story was a bit thin, but it was far from, irredeemable. They could have released some DLCs. They could have dumped a little love and care into it and probably nursed it to some level of popularity with the fans, as has happened with many other video games such as Cyberpunk or No Man's Sky. Instead, they dither around. They make this trash Dragon Age Veilguard game just stuffed with a bunch of woke wackoism. And meanwhile, you have the Fallout franchise. They're not making another solo Fallout game. They're just dumping everything into their Fallout 76 property. And then but they are making Amazon TV shows. The Halo franchise is making Halo shows. The Witcher is making the Witcher show. I can't understand why BioWare has never cashed in on Mass Effect. I can't even understand it. Why have you been ignoring this property for so long? I sure hope it's because you care a hell of a lot about getting it right. But unfortunately, I've lived too long to be that optimistic. Now, resume quote. We have a lot of universe to cover, lots of features to build, and lots of romances to figure out. We're excited by what we're building, and we promise you, when we're ready, it'll be a lot of fun to show. Until then, thank you for your patience, because y'all are thirsty for news, and I see you looking for secret meaning in my tweets. Okay, sometimes they have secret meaning. Beyond the next game, there's more to get excited about. I haven't talked about it much, but you might have heard a little... Brace yourselves, chat. You may have heard a little something about a TV series. We've been partnering closely with Amazon on it, and we're really excited with what the talented team over there is coming up with. Close quote for a second. Now, you need to brace yourselves for this, my dear sailors and Starnauts. Now, there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is they are developing a Mass Effect TV series with Amazon, which, I mean, the chances that it's going to be really well written and good... However, here's the good news. Because I told you that if they tried to adapt Shepard's story, that would be a disaster. Well, here you go. Open quote. The writer's room is going strong, and we've got a lot figured out about how it fits within the Mass Effect canon and where it sits in respect to the new game. The show will explore a brand new story within the universe's timeline and will be set after the original trilogy. It won't be a retread of Commander Shepard's story because, after all, that's your story, isn't it? And for that, credit where it is due. Credit where it's due. That is a great relief. Star Fury. Star Fury says, BioWare, we're working out which male assholes are getting dick. Oh, no. Jeez. But you're not wrong. To be fair, they're probably working on which Quarian babe is getting. You know what? Am I? I didn't say. I'm saying you're not wrong, Star Fury. Unfortunately. Look, as I have said, look, BioWare games have always had romance options that run the gamut, and it's as long as you, the player, are in the driver's seat. There's nothing at all wrong with that. I think that's a great thing. If you want to explore romance with a character, have at it. The problem with Veilguard is that they forced you to basically play along with all of the insanity around the pronouns and all that bullshit. It's like they made your character co-sign it, which is what was frustrating about it. When they just make it like your character and you can choose to be nice to people or you can be a dick to people, you can romance someone on the ship or you can romance no one on the ship. Or you can love them and leave them. You can dump their asses. Because you're a player. And as Commander Shepard frequently says when he welcomes a new crew member aboard, we'll bang, okay? And that's just how it is. So as long as it is not, as long as it's not gone the way of Veilguard, I'm totally fine with it. But you are right that they may be placing undue attention on which, never mind. There will be hetero shit, Starfury. I think there will be hetero shit. Fu Man Blue says, I feel like Starfury's been waiting all week to let this demon off the chain. Oh, Starfury's on one today, folks. Folks, just brace yourselves. And he's getting them past the YouTube censor algorithm. And I don't know how he's doing it. He's cracked the code. He's been just furiously at work on this. Listen, folks, I've said this many times. If you are a longtime viewer of this channel, there's something you got to know, okay? Starfury's out there. He's out there. So the good news is we're not trying to adapt Commander Shepard's story. That's encouraging. That's encouraging. So he says, Mike Gamble says, keep an eye on our social channels for more celebrations today, including some awesome new Mass Effect gear, free crossover at blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you a prediction I have for this new Mass Effect. And I was telling a friend of mine who is a lefty also. But he kind of agrees with, I think he does. I don't know. I can't tell if he's being serious or not, but I think he hates the wokey stuff too. But anyway, good friend of mine, total lefty. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a lefty. Just don't be a wacko. That's all. Just like there's nothing wrong with being right wing. Just don't be a wacko. Just don't be out there saying, Wayfair is for international you-know-what rings. Oh, God, I probably got all the conspiracy theories are going to come up in the chat. Anyway, my point is, I was telling him this prediction, which I have for Mass Effect, I guess you would call it 4, since Andromeda's not really Mass Effect 4. Sorry, not Mass Effect 4, the TV show. This is my prediction for the TV show. There is no shot that it's a male protagonist. Like, zero chance. There is no chance it's a male protagonist. Tell me if you think I'm wrong about this. Tell me if you think I'm wrong about that. It will 100% be a female girl boss as the main character. Now, I'm not saying there won't be strong male characters in it. I actually do have some faith, because Mass Effect is a pretty grounded, mature franchise. We'll see. They may have let too many wackos in the door. It's possible. But I have some faith that it will be reasonably grounded and well-written, okay? But it will not be a male commanding that ship. It will not be a male who's leading the missions. It just won't. Zero chance. I'd love to be wrong about this. But hey, if you want a badass masculine character in charge, you need to sign up to the email list for Galaxy Born, because that's what you're going to get with Captain Cole Sadler, who his job is to kill bad guys. That's what he does. See, the equivalent of N7 in my universe is Templar Knights, which is what he is. He is a Templar, which is a special forces organization within the United Commonwealth Star Navy. And he's a fighter. Like, he's unusual in that way. He rose through the ranks of command as a fighter and essentially in gunnery and in combat roles. So he leads from the front and he kicks some ass. And his first officer, Officer May Bayala, is a total babe. And you can see her right there. So go to www.galaxyborn.com and put in your email, and I will send you updates. Now, we have more to discuss, my dear sailors and starnauts. Yes, thank you. Fu Man Blue has put the website www.galaxyborn.com in the chat. Why not have a senior female admiral, says Starfury, running the fleet and commanding the special forces and still have the male protagonist as the N7? Well, sure, you could do that. Thanks, Fu Man. She is a total babe. I agree with you. Maybay. That's what the crew calls her. Maybay. Yeah, she is. And I'm pretty excited to explore Captain Sadler's friendship with her, because it's not going to be any romantic tension, because that would be fraternizing, and Sadler wouldn't do that. However, the reason she's in the Star Navy is because her colony was attacked by a slaver cartel, because it was a frontier colony. She's a Capruan. They're the first species we made contact with in the Galaxy-born future, and they're our allies. And their colonies on the far edges, she was on one that got attacked, and her whole family got wiped out, and she barely survived. And it was actually a young Lieutenant Sadler, who at that time was a Templar, who saved her and liberated the colony and was the one that scooped her out of the wreckage. And she was basically the equivalent of in human years, she was like 17 or 18 years old. Right, and he saved her. And so she immediately enlisted in the Star Navy, rose through the ranks, requested a transfer to his ship, and now they're like best buds. Best buds. Now, Sadler has another best bud on the starship who is the leader of his Templar teams, and his name is Braxton Cross, and we'll get into that as well. Starfury is saying that, I think you mean Admiral Hackett in Mass Effect could have been female with zero impact to the original story. Oh, well, it's not that see, I take your point, Starfury, that in the TV show, you could have a senior female admiral. That's fine. Honestly, I'm frankly kind of even tired of that, if you want to know the truth, because it's become such a hackneyed trope. I'm just tired of it. It doesn't even have to do with like the political or woke or whatever message ramifications. It's just boring now. It's really boring to constantly see just the same character over and over and over again. I got to show you this tweet. I got to find this tweet because it'll make my point. But I do think Admiral Hackett is such a badass character, and voiced by Lance Henriksen. I can't imagine the Mass Effect series without him. I'll tell you, in the first video game, you don't see his face. He's a disembodied voice because you just hear him over the channel. You know, that first Mass Effect game, there is nothing like it. It is the most unique experience I've ever had in video gaming, maybe with the exception of BioShock. That might be the only other game that was that visceral and unique to me. But you really do feel in the first Mass Effect game like you are a young captain or commander. You are out there in the wilderness and there is shit happening, and there is just nobody to stop it. And so you're getting these calls from Admiral Hackett, and he's like, hey, this weird, creepy cult is on this airless moon. Go stop them. Dude, there was something I could just get chills thinking about it. Like, you're out there, man. You're out there in the great cosmic dark, and this surly old admiral is giving you orders. It's fantastic. I loved that element of it. Now, Mass Effect 2 is probably the best in the series, but it has a totally different texture. Mass Effect 2 goes from being kind of a wilderness tale about a young, unproven commander following this dark, mysterious conspiracy to its logical end and just fighting all these creepy aliens and robots. That was so cool in Mass Effect 1. Mass Effect 2, you are back from the dead, and you are basically Jack Bauer in space. You are basically an expendable soldier who just has to accomplish the mission by any means necessary. And that was awesome. That was really awesome. And I love Mass Effect 3, which of course is this epic war against the Reapers and all that. But the thing is, that original first game and the texture it had, they just never got that back. And Andromeda kind of tried to bring some of that magic back, I think Andromeda did. And I appreciate Andromeda for that. I'm not a huge Andromeda hater. I actually liked a lot of Andromeda and enjoyed the hell out of a lot of it. I understand why it has its problems, but I do think it was fixable, but they just it became abandonware basically instantly. The minute they got any blowback, they were like, oh, fuck it. It's like, well, anyway. But that first Mass Effect game, it was, I just can't even describe it. It was like you really were out there exploring the stars, investigating creepy mysteries in space, landing on uninhabitable planets and just like exploring them and just being out there with no backup. And it was creepy, man. And there was a feeling of like returning to civilization when you'd go back to the Citadel and you'd like buy supplies or complete quests or whatever. It felt like you were returning to civilization, and then you'd get in your ship and fly back out there. And it's like, now I'm once again on this planet that's under just this glaring red sun, and there's all these ruthless, red sand dealers shooting at me. It's fantastic, man. There was nothing like it. Mass Effect is the biggest gold mine IP ever, and it's completely untapped. Mass Effect has not even tapped a tenth of its potential, and it's because the leadership has been so bad. Like Casey Hudson, his decision in Mass Effect 3 to do that bizarre ending with the 3 colors was such a disaster. It was such a disaster, the way he did that. Redoubt, I already said we're doing a watch along. We're doing a watch along on Tuesday for members only, the senior staff only. You don't have to sell me or threaten me with in the Discord. That's right. The Discord is linked in the description. Check it out. Check it out if you want to see it. If you want to join us in the chat, it's been popping off over there. Where was it, Mr. Producer? I was going to show them this. There it is. There it is. Okay, this X post is unbelievable. It just puts it into perspective, because I was talking about how like just the girl in charge has become this hackneyed trope, and it's just everywhere. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. I have never seen a better summation of the problem. Check out this X post from John A. Douglas. Check this out. They showed this on Friday Night Tights, and it blew my mind. These are 4 screenshots from 4 different shows. These are 4 screenshots from 4 different shows. And just look at this. Every single one of them looks the same. They all have a diverse cast. It all looks like made for TV costumes. Just low budget made for TV costumes. Every set looks the same. They all have the same dumb look on their face. God, I miss the days when fantasy was something only nerds were involved with. Only nerds were involved with fantasy. Anyone who was interested in fantasy was a dork. Avoid. That was society's perception of them. Now, fantasy is being run by a bunch of wacko Karens who know nothing about it, and they make all of it, but it's every single one. Everything has to fit the modern Hays Code, which is the woke code. Everything has to be diverse. It has to be inclusive. It can't be anything violent or threatening. Everybody we have to have one Asian, we have to have one black, we have to have one weird looking ginger. We have to have somebody that's disabled. It makes me sick. It makes me sick. So now, with that being said, let's move on to some good news, shall we? Godzilla Minus One has the sequel on the way. Let me grab that headline, Mr. Producer. Yes, share screen. We have a title, folks. Staffyere is not a fan of the title, but your captain is. This from the Hollywood Reporter, Japan's Toho Studios reveals title for next Godzilla movie. Director and VFX maestro Takashi Yamazaki's follow-up to Oscar winner Godzilla Minus One was revealed Monday at this year's Godzilla Day 2025 event in Tokyo. Godzilla Minus Zero. Now, someone pointed out something interesting about, let's see here, the way the title looks. Let me grab this, okay? This is already there's a fan theory about what we might be about to see. So here's the X post. What if? Right? Could it be? Could it be Mothra? It's a possibility, folks. Okay, resuming with the article. Let's see here. The King of Monsters is revving up to roar again. Legendary Tokyo-based Toho Studios shared the title Monday morning for Mighty Godzilla's next rampage, revealing it would be Godzilla Minus Zero. Takashi Yamazaki penning the script and at the helm. The title was unveiled during Godzilla Day in Tokyo, where a teaser logo and first look artwork were revealed. Godzilla Minus One has set several new benchmarks. Made on a reported budget of just $15 million, it defied expectations by earning more than $113 million. Just $15 million. And it's one of the best films I've ever seen. You could not make that movie in the United States. You could not make it this way because you would have to have all the unions and diversity quotas and all that garbage. And do you know there is not one non-Japanese person who is a member of the cast in Godzilla Minus One? Not one. Every single member of the cast in Godzilla Minus One is Japanese. Every single person you see on screen is Japanese there's a couple of clips of Douglas MacArthur here and there, but they're all Japanese characters. And you know something? That's how I like it. That's how I prefer it. I don't want fucking Yasuke in there, okay? I don't want some random non-Japanese person in there. Now, if it's set in the modern world, okay, fine. You could have one or two. I like a Japanese story made by Japanese people with Japanese actors and stars, featuring Japanese culture. I like that. That's what I want. It became the first film in the Godzilla franchise's 70-year history to win an Academy Award. It should have won a lot more, honestly. It got VFX, but it should have been Best Picture. Even though being a foreign film, it probably wouldn't qualify. Who cares? The Oscars suck. It also became the all-time top-grossing live-action Japanese film at the North American box office. According to insiders, I saw this movie 4 times in theaters, and I wish I had seen it 8. Open quote, the new film is being positioned not just as a sequel, but as a statement piece. Full cast and story details remain under wraps. However, building upon the success of Minus One, Toho can be expected to step up both the scale and ambition for Godzilla Minus Zero, leveraging a reawoken monster franchise that's now firmly in blockbuster prestige territory for viewers throughout the West. Godzilla Minus Zero will be the 31st Japanese feature in the famed kaiju franchise. Let's just face it, folks. It is the kaiju franchise. Close quote for a second on the article. Godzilla is the undisputed king of the kaiju. He just is. It's not even close. He is, when you think of the ultimate kaiju, it's Godzilla. When you think of the best soda in the world, it's classic Coke. There's no substitute. Get that shitty-ass Pepsi out of my face. It's classic Coke. That's just how it is, folks. Godzilla is our boy. There was something else in this article. I don't know if it was this article, but I read that they're going to be maintaining the same tone. Let me find that X post, Mr. Producer, because that is really what I want. Let me go back to my bookmarks. Bookmarks. Seeing if I can find the one I need. Oh, there is this message from Takashi Yamazaki, so we'll do that one. I hope I can show it, because Toho Studios are absolutely cold-blooded when it comes to copyright. They will not let you show anything. They will hit you. You can't even show the trailer. They will take down your whole stream for showing a trailer. But I don't think this is an official Toho post, so I think I can show it. There it is. Okay, I have it, Mr. Producer. Okay, share screen. So according, I guess it was in this article, but I lost where it is. But here's the bottom line. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Godzilla Minus Zero will be a, quote, darker, more expansive monster mythoscape, and is being positioned not just as a sequel, but as a statement piece. And we're looking at a 2026 global release. I am so stoked on this. Crowbar says, I suppose giant moths are scary. Okay, Mothra gets a pass though. Mothra is like our beloved little pet kaiju, and everybody loves Mothra, even though Mothra's not really scary. You can't be a Godzilla fan and not love and adore Mothra. It's what it is, man. It's just what it is. Michael Archangel says, Mosura ya. That's Mothra for those who don't know Japanese. Why, thank you, Michael Archangel. I appreciate that. Redoubt Production says, I sense a very good chance that that's a reference for Mothra, but only time will tell. Actually, it's a reference to Mothman, Brave New World. Yes, Captain Mothman. That would be Captain America. Fu Man Blue says, well, if Mothra is in there, she won't be the big bad. So we still don't know who the big bad is. Correct. Fu Man Blue. That's exactly right. Mothra is a guest star. But it could be that she is central to the story. Michael Archangel says, is Godzilla going to get kawaii and introduce baby Godzilla? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm still hopeful that Godzilla is still really kind of the bad guy. I like Godzilla as the bad guy, personally. That being said, if we're going to do anti-hero Godzilla who's taking out another kaiju, like, enemy of our enemy sort of situation, I'm very interested to see what Takashi Yamazaki's take on it is, because the central story of Shikishima in Godzilla Minus One was so human and grounded and moving and brilliant, and it was man versus, it was David versus Goliath. It was so pitch perfect that I would love to see how Yamazaki would tackle Godzilla versus another monster and still preserve that grounded human element. I think there has to be a way to do that. That being said, I think there's always a risk when Godzilla just becomes a superhero. It kind of starts to become dopey no matter what you do. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of Godzilla as our punishment. He's here to punish us for what we done wrong. I'm not against him fighting another kaiju, so long as we don't lose the grounded human tone of the Godzilla Minus One franchise, right? That's really what made it so great. Godzilla Minus One is the Godzilla film I always wanted. And that's not to say I'm not a fan of other Godzilla. I love Godzilla 1985. That was my introduction to Godzilla, and I love many of the other films. But Godzilla Minus One just nailed the human element in a way that I always believed was possible. It just had never quite landed before. And I don't know. I don't know if it's possible to catch that lightning in a bottle again. I don't know. I think Yamazaki will give it an amazing attempt, but I don't know if he can get there because it was just so good. Michael Archangel says the character design for Minus One Godzilla was the scariest Zilla I've ever seen. It was so good. It was so good. In fact, I've got a clip. I can't show it. I literally can't show 1 second of a clip. But the clip where Godzilla is just coming out of that they fire at him, a bunch of tanks fire at him, and there's all this smoke and destruction. And you think, oh, did they get him? Did they get him? And then you just see Godzilla's face coming out of this cloud of smoke, and all the people are horrified. And there's just no hope. It's so good. There is no hope. That was my favorite part of the movie because I was about a little over halfway through the movie when Godzilla attacks Tokyo and Shikishima's there looking up at him. And there's just you're really at this point in the story where you cannot conceive of a way to stop him because you already know that modern technology would not be able to stop him. This is World War II technology that they're using to try and take him out, and it's completely ineffective. He basically is a walking nuclear weapon. There's nothing you can do. He's totally invincible. How are you going to stop this thing? That's so much of the fun of Godzilla Minus One, I think. And we definitely need the Mothra song. I would agree, Michael Archangel. Oh, the boat chase scene? Michael Archangel was one of the greatest. That was one of the greatest action set pieces I've ever seen. It was up there with the docking sequence in Interstellar for me. It was up there with the barbarian horde in Gladiator when Maximus is able to completely turn the tables and defeat. Essentially, it's a Kobayashi Maru. Maximus finds himself in a sort of Kobayashi Maru where he's just supposed to die and he turns the tables by uniting all the other slaves to fight. That's one of the greatest action scenes of all time. That scene when Godzilla is chasing the boat is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I was on the edge of my seat in the theater. It was so good. Just seeing his face just swimming after them. Oh man. But then Shikishima in the Shinden plane, and he's flying against Godzilla, and he flies right at him, and he's shooting at him, and you just hear the sound design in this movie is so good. As he flies by Godzilla snaps at him with his teeth, and you hear the shearing of his teeth as they snap shut, and they almost get him. Oh, jeez, be careful, Shikishima. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, it's a lot like Jaws, Redoubt Productions. Yeah, I would agree. It's got that same energy as Jaws. It's just so masterfully done. Minus One is such a masterclass in storytelling. It really is. It's top 10 films of all time for me. It's one of the top 10 films of all time, and one day I will give you that exact list. But for now, it shall remain a mystery. Okay, now I had more on this. Oh, yes, Takashi Yamazaki's message, and I'm going to have to watch this one closely because Toho will hit you, and they are ruthless as hell. But then again, it is translated, so I could probably do it without the sound, but I'll just keep an eye on it. Okay, do we have sound, Mr. Producer? Yes, roll tape. And if you don't know, the rule on the show is that if the captain screws up the sound and winds up like having a video muted or even worse, having my voice muted, I have to show you the bib that Fu Man Blue gave me at the Nerdrotic meetup. That's the new rule. Staffiri says, can we do a group watch of Minus One? That's a great... You know what? We absolutely can. When do you want to do that? I almost feel like around Christmas time would be a great time to do that, because that's when it came out last year, 2 years ago. Wait, let me know in the chat. In fact, maybe we could just do like a little poll. Just start a poll. When should we do a Christmas stuff here? When should we do a Godzilla Minus One watch along? And the choices will be Christmas week, Thanksgiving week, or as soon as possible. Do it right now. Now, just so there's no misunderstanding, I can't actually like have any sound or audio of the movie playing. So we'll all synchronize, and I'll say three. I'll count us in 3, 2, 1. Start the movie, and we're gonna be watching it in the subtitled Japanese because it is on Netflix, I believe. But nobody in the senior staff on this ship is allowed to watch the English dub because it's garbage. They changed the dialogue and it's terrible. They rewrote the dialogue and it's bad, really bad. It's like if you wanted Disney's dialogue for the movie, just watch the English dub. It's trash. Fucking trash. So we can only watch it with the English subtitles, or if you know Japanese, even better. I really can't do it tonight, though. It seems like as soon as possible is actually starting to overtake Christmas week. Okay, I'm just going to mute this since it's in Japanese anyway, but let's roll tape here. So this is Yamazaki said, I can't share the details yet. However, I'm on a movie set right now, and I'd love to have been there, but I'm not. I'm really tight on schedule, sadly. He's talking about being at Godzilla Day. I'm working really hard on it, and I hope you look forward to seeing it. This man impresses me so damn much. He's in it for the love of the game. This is a true craftsman. This is a true creator. This is a real artist. This isn't some wacko blue-hair DEI hire in a Disney writer's room. This isn't Bob Iger or Kathleen Kennedy IP mining. This is a man who is in this for the love of the game and the love of the fans and the love of Godzilla. It just is so damn inspirational. And now, let Godzilla Fest 2025 festivities begin. Just a little intro for Godzilla Day. All right, cool. So, yep, he didn't tell us basically anything. He just didn't tell us anything at all. Oh, well. What else have I got, Mr. Producer? Anything else on Godzilla? I kind of was going to show a clip of one of the cool scenes in the movie, but like I can't because Toho will freaking they will nuke you from orbit for showing a trailer. So I can't even risk it. But we've got other stuff in the stack of stuff. So we shall move on. Now, we need to talk about Frankenstein. Guillermo Del Toro's adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with Oscar Isaac as the star. You have the cast in this movie is incredible. You have Christoph Waltz is playing this arms merchant who is funding Frankenstein's research. You have Charles Dance, that would be Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones, plays his evil father, Frankenstein's father, Frankenstein the Elder. Mia Goth from some of the most excellent horror films I've seen in a long time, X and Pearl. Mia Goth plays Elizabeth, his Frankenstein's brother's fiance, who sort of falls in love with the creature. Who else is in this? It's just rock stars, absolute rock stars from wall to wall. Guillermo Del Toro is just, he's got that Tim Burton quality of being, or another great example would be Quentin Tarantino, where they just have a unique visual style. They have a unique voice as a creator. He's just one of the last great filmmakers. And he's it's kind of interesting because every artist over the course of their career, you'll start to see a pattern emerge, and you eventually realize that there's kind of one thematic thing that defines their work. There's like one, basically all of their stories have something in common. And I would say that in the case of Christopher Nolan, who's one of the greatest filmmakers of our time, the thing that the thing he's always telling a story about is space and time, right? The actual experience of space and time and reality is kind of always what he's playing with, which is always really fun. And I guarantee you that that's going to be a major element in The Odyssey, which is, of course, about a man trying to get home over the course of 20 miserable years at sea. So he's definitely going to be playing with space and time in that movie. I can't wait to see how. Then you have Quentin Tarantino, whose entire shtick is telling just pulp fiction, spaghetti western style stories. And then you have Guillermo del Toro, and he is the quintessential fairy tale filmmaker. He creates fairy tales for cinema, and he uses special effects and CGI always in service of that goal. It's, as a kid, did you ever see those little pop-up books? Did your mom ever read you one of those little pop-up books where you would turn the page and this whole scene would just appear, just a little paper cutout scene? I loved those as a kid. Those were pure magic. That is what a Guillermo del Toro story reminds me of. It reminds me of a world that just like, it goes from being two-dimensional to three to it's charming to its absolute core. So Frankenstein is a film that is a stone cold period piece in which every element is lovingly crafted. It opens with a ship in the 1850s locked in the ice in the Arctic. So it has like Terror vibes. If you've seen The Terror, and this ship is gorgeous. If you don't know, the captain, me, your host, Captain Garrett, is a nautical man, and I love a tall ship. I love a good tall ship. And so this ship, this is what we open on in Frankenstein. It's this beautiful ice cutting tall ship that is trying to like make the Northwest Passage. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's a major setting throughout the film. But then you have Frankenstein's lab, Frankenstein's estate, the costumes, the tower. The tower where he builds the creature is incredible. It's incredible. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. This set is unbelievable. I have to wonder how much of it is real and how much is CGI. I tend to think more of it than you would think is real. It is gorgeous. This film is a lot of fun. It's extremely entertaining. I was completely engaged the entire time I'm watching this movie, and it's just an amazing period piece. It's an amazing 1850s period piece. Everything about it, and this is very typical of Guillermo Del Toro, everything about it is very grounded and human, but also very larger than life. And if you've ever just wanted to see a really good recreation of Frankenstein, his lab, his creation of the monster, this is it. Like, this is absolutely it. The special effects and the visuals and the build up to him creating the monster it's as fun as Tony Stark building the Iron Man suit. Like, I think Tony Stark building the Iron Man suit in the first Iron Man film is one of the greatest fun and games parts of a film I've ever seen. The fun and games part of this film where Frankenstein is building the lab and researching it and creating the creature and customizing his tower. It's freaking great. It is fantastic. The hidden surprise in this film, though, is that the story of the creature is incredibly moving and powerful and really, really good. I don't want to tell you too much because it would kind of give it away, but the story is kind of split into sort of two parts. Frankenstein's story and the creature's story. So first we get Frankenstein's story and then we get the creature, and both are just epic and awesome. The cast is amazing. I'm curious how close to the novel, because I've not read the novel, but I'm curious how close to the novel it is, but it tells the story in a really beautiful way, and it's a modern fairy tale. He's so good at this. If you've never seen Pan's Labyrinth, you've got to see it. It's another really good one. I forget what was this one called. It was, let's see. Horror. It was a horror film. He's got a few horror films. What was it called? Was it Crimson Peak? I don't think that's the one I'm thinking of. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. That's the one. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Oh, if you love a really good ghost story, it's not exactly a ghost story, but it is good. It will creep you out. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. You got to see it. But it's also a dark fairy tale. So he's really good at this. He's really good at blending horror with dark fairy tales. Highly recommend it. No way he did the Witches remake. That can't be right. No. Okay, they're just, so Google's trying to sell me stuff. Never mind. Young Frankenstein, Michael Archangel. I think I'm watching Young Frankenstein tonight. I've actually never seen it. I need to watch it. Okay, I'm ending the poll. Christmas week is the clear winner. We are going to do K-pop Demon Hunters this week. And on Christmas week, we will do a watch along of Godzilla Minus One. And that's actually really good because I'm working on... So probably we'll talk a little bit of inside baseball about the state of this channel in a few minutes. We'll get into that because it actually will fit very well with my future plans. So we will get into that. Thank you, Fu Man Blue. You are just crushing it. You just Master at Arms on the ship is just crushing it today. He's letting you know where you can find us on X. We are at the SNS channel on X, and there's also a Discord. You can join Join us aboard the ship. When we are not on the captain's cast, when the captain is not on screen, you can still join me in the Discord. It's a lot of fun over there. When we're off duty, we hang out in the forward lounge. By the way, just returning to the original point, if you're going to watch Young Frankenstein, you should absolutely watch Guillermo Del Toro's Frankenstein. Like, it's a really great film. It's 2.5 hours, and it's worth every minute. Absolutely fantastic. So I am a huge fan of Guillermo Del Toro's Frankenstein. I did not watch it in theaters. I kind of was like pressed for time, and I thought, you know what, I'll just watch it when it comes out on Netflix. And I did. I watched it on Netflix. I should have seen it in theaters. This is clearly a theater film. It's amazing to me. That's the other element I really love about it. It's steampunk. It's like, it made me want to play like a steampunk tabletop game. It is so rich with like Victorian, industrial age kind of visuals and stuff. And like Frankenstein's technology in his lab is so cool. Now, one of the things that makes this such a good take on it is, like Godzilla, at the heart and soul of Godzilla is that mythos about Godzilla as representative of our sin. Frankenstein is all about that element. It's all about the element of human hubris, human fear of mortality, and how that can poison everything. Oscar Isaac tore the doors off in his performance of this character. I mean, this cast is so freaking incredible. Like, I can't even believe the names they got for this movie. It's just unbelievably good. But I have to grab something for you to show you what I'm talking about. So if you don't know, I am a big fan of Blake Snyder's preeminent Bible for how to structure a story called Save the Cat. It's a book for writers, screenwriters, novelists, you name it, to teach you how to structure a story. Okay. And one of the things you have to do when you're structuring a story is you have to define what it is, right? This is why I have the log line on my website for Galaxyborn. It's a starfaring adventure. It's military science fiction. I have a short, concise description of it. That's because if you can't tell people what your story is, or you can't define it yourself as an author, you're not going to know what you're doing. Okay, so the framework of Save the Cat is to help you do that. Now, let me show you, because I just enjoy thinking about this when I'm watching a film. I'm like, what genre is it? Now, you're familiar with the traditional genres, romantic comedy, sword and sorcery fantasy. Those are kind of like the traditional, thriller, horror, right? Those are the traditional genres, science fiction. Blake Snyder says those are not the real genre. Those are marketing terms. Those don't actually describe what a story is. So Blake Snyder came up with 10 genres for writers that define a story by its actual structure, not by what the marketing idea of what it is. So I'm going to share my screen here. So one of the classic genres is a Golden Fleece story, which, not that it's a good one, but Predator Badlands is a Golden Fleece story, right? Golden Fleece story is usually a group of characters on a road trip to find a primal treasure. Indiana Jones, The Lord of the Rings, those are classic examples of Golden Fleece stories. Stand By Me is another example. Now, this is kind of a more rare one to encounter, but this is called the out-of-the-bottle story. And this is what Frankenstein is. It's a textbook out-of-the-bottle story. In these wish fulfillment tales, an ordinary hero's life is changed by magic that either bestows a wish or a power or inflicts them with a curse. For example, close quote for a second. A good example of this in comedy is the Jim Carrey film Liar, Liar, where he's cursed with the ability to only tell the truth, and he lies, right? So he can't do his job as a lawyer. So that's a classic example. Obviously, Aladdin would be the most obvious example of an out-of-the-bottle story. Obviously referring to like a genie being let out of the bottle. Here we go. Open quote. Whichever way, this magic, and it doesn't have to be literally magic, but it's basically whatever happens in the story, this magic changes the hero's life and makes things difficult. The magic is resolved in the end, but the lesson, the moral of the tale, resonates with the hero and the audience forever. The three elements of an out-of-the-bottle story are a wish, asked for by the hero or another, and the clearly seen need to be delivered from the ordinary. So in Frankenstein, obviously the wish is Frankenstein wants to defeat, Dr. Frankenstein wants to defeat death. That's essentially his wish. He wants to overcome it completely, and he pursues this goal by trying to reanimate corpses, right? Number 2, a spell, which we must make logical by upholding the rules, right? And so the spell in this example is the technology which allows the creature to come to life. And of course, there are rules such as the creature can't be killed, he can't die, so there are rules around like how this was achieved, etc. Number 3, a lesson. Be careful what you wish for. It's the running theme in all out-of-the-bottle stories. Life is good as it is. And I'm not going to tell you how Frankenstein fulfills that third criterion, but rest assured that is the heart and soul of this film, and it's really good. Really, really good. So check out Frankenstein. You will love it. It's fantastic. Guillermo Del Toro, unlike Ridley Scott, is still the preeminent creator he's ever been. Yes, Fu Man Blue, excellent example of an out-of-the-bottle story. Bruce Almighty. Perfect example. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is an out-of-the-bottle story. When you think about it, that's basically what it is. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, classic out-of-the-bottle story. So, and they're cool. They're cool. And they can be, by the way, out-of-the-bottle stories can be very dark. They can be very dark and horrific as well. I'm trying to think. I think this might not be a perfect example, but the film Chronicle about 3 teenage boys who get superpowers and it takes a dark turn is a good example maybe of an out of the bottle story. I'm trying to think of a good dark out of the bottle story. I'll think of one. Fu Man Blue says, it seems like Frankenstein's idea worked. You could just do it with a freshly dead person without all the patchworking. Watch the movie. It's really cool. It's really like how he gets, like I said, it's like Iron Man building the Iron Man suit. It's like how he gets the bodies, how the technology works, how he comes to like the technological breakthrough he needs. It's all so good. It's so good. Michael Archangel says, I've always loved writing, but based all my stories in the TTRPG world, aka D&D or Call of Cthulhu. Fu Man says, I like to write too. I like having written more than writing, though. Yes, well, that's the challenge, isn't it, Fu Man? I can testify to that firsthand. So I'm kind of trying to learn Brandon Sanderson's approach, which is Brandon Sanderson writes 2,000 words a day. So I'm trying to like follow his template because that would be 700. That's 750,000 words a year. So, and in my terms, that would be 4 to 5 novels a year. And that's right in line with what I'm trying to do. So that would work. So I'm working on it. Now, there's a little meme I like to share on this channel. Every now and then. I just think it's fun. I just think we need a little bit of this in our lives. Where is it? Where is it, Mr. Producer? There it is. Yes, that's Cat Vader. That's Darth Cat, which and his stormtrooper dogs. Which is just always freaking awesome. Now, I came across this on X, and I had to show you. Because if you've been seeing the Darth Cat meme on my live stream, Look what I found. That you can How could you not love this, chat? How could you not love this? How did they capture this shot? And if you're just listening, it's a freeze frame of Darth Vader on the TV, and the guy's cat is peeking over the TV in just such a way that the cat looks like it's Darth Vader's head. And it's freaking awesome. I find your lack of faith disturbing. So awesome. And now everything on my feed is cat videos. Just nothing but cat videos. It's a complete disaster. Okay, well, now that being said, there's a lot going on out there. And there's more in the stack of stuff. And we actually have some important work to do, my dear chat. You see, here's what we've got to do tonight.
What are you laughing at?
That's right. It's time for a little grave dancing. And we have a few little wins to celebrate. And you may have seen them, but you haven't seen me talk about them. And that's why it matters. Share screen, Mr. Producer. Okay, so this is one of the most delicious things that has ever happened, ever. The age of intimidating and pressuring and shaming people into disavowing and agreeing to the woke wackoism, to essentially what the virtue signaling is with woke wackoism is a false premise is presented. A false premise is presented. For example, if you think that Lord of the Rings should only have European actors because actors of European descent because it's set in a mythical European world, that means you're a white supremacist. But if you think Black Panther should only have black actors because it's in Africa, that means you're stunning and brave. So there's a false premise, and they force you to agree with it. So as you know, Sydney Sweeney did a marvelous and beautiful jeans ad in which she did a word play. It's called a double entendre with the word jeans. And she said she has great jeans. Now, she has great jeans because she's a stone cold babe. And her calcium cannons are truly impressive. But leave it to a woke leftist Karen to reinterpret that into the false premise that she was referring to her secret desire to impose white supremacist eugenics on all of society and was declaring that ancestral European genes are supreme to all others. That is the false premise that was promulgated. And see, this is what they do. They say they reinterpret something to mean something it did not. They then get outraged and upset about it. And then when they have an opportunity, that would be the wacko media, to corner said actress or performer or writer, whoever it is, they attempt to get them to agree to their premise that their ad was white supremacist by way of disavowing it. Okay. So when they say, would you like to disavow your association with this person that we think is a Nazi because you're certainly not a Nazi? Would you like to state for the record that you're not? By saying that you're not, you are agreeing that their premise was correct in the first place. And this is the root of all wokeness in toto. This is the root of all of it. When they say that we want diversity, equity, and inclusion in a cast of, let's say, Wheel of Time, what they are implying is that there's something wrong with European culture being represented by Europeans. But there's not something wrong with any other culture. Now, they're doing this to other cultures, by the way, though. They're doing this to other cultures. They are attempting to, revisionist historians, leftist revisionist historians are trying to now argue that Native Americans, that would be Indians, Native Americans, are actually descendants of Africans who migrated over somehow. So they're actually Africans. That's what they're trying. They're trying to reimagine Viking history as Africans. They're trying to now claim that there were African samurai that have been erased from history. So for some reason, they are attempting to insist that all these other cultures were African. The entire world was originally African. Jews, the original Jews were Africans. And it is the European Jewry that has stolen that from the true inheritors of Jewry. Boy, I'm really cruising today, Mr. Producer. I'm saying what they believe, okay? That's not what I believe. I'm saying what they believe, all right? So they're trying to do that. This is the problem with Yasuke in Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed Shadows. Here they are telling a story about Japanese samurai in feudal Japan, which is that is a time and a place where you are only going to find Japanese culture in that time and place. You know, anyone that's not Japanese is a foreigner that is excluded from their society. And of course, Assassin's Creed, their whole claim to fame is their historical accuracy. So they went and found this apocryphal, completely debunked story from one wacko leftist about a black samurai, and they made him the main character. So here's what I'm getting at. The false premise goes something like this. It is diverse and inclusive and beautiful if you rewrite Japanese cultural heritage, Viking cultural heritage, English cultural heritage, and Native American cultural heritage to represent cultures that they did not. But if you include white people in a Black Panther film, well, that's just unnecessary because we should be celebrating African culture. It's a double standard, it's hypocritical, and it's nonsense. And there is only one way to handle such nonsense, and we have officially arrived at the era where wokeness is finally being defeated. I give you Sydney Sweetie's incredible remark, hat tip Asmongold for the clip. Roll tape.
Oh, geez. Okay, is this the full clip? All right, let me watch this. Apparently, this is so cringe.
For context, it's all about this jeans ad from a few months back.
Right.
Sydney Sweeney has fur canes.
I can see why they're mad.
That is Nazi propaganda.
I think.
Oh my God, that is Nazi propaganda. My impression of woke wackos is so dead on accurate. It scares me. It is deadly accurate. You can just hear the pulmonary disease on that cow. She literally sounds like her nose is plugged. She's like, this is totally Nazi propaganda. This is Nazi propaganda. What was that? What? Michael Archangel says Sydney shuts her up by saying nothing. Yes, she does. But no, there was another comment. Someone said something about Sydney Sweeney's eyes. I'm trying to find it. That's right. Michael Archangel said she has millennial dead-eye, million-mile stare. This is my take on Sydney Sweeney. I think she's kind of I think she's kind of like Henry Cavill in that she's secretly a little bit of a nerd. It's just a theory. I can't prove it one way or the other. It's just a theory. I think she's a little bit naturally socially awkward, but she's a professional and she works hard on her craft. And so she puts herself out there anyway, because I think that I don't think she's instinctively someone who seeks a spotlight. Now, I could be totally wrong about this. This is purely speculation on my part. It's just a theory. But let's roll tape.
I know how you're going to answer this, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Wait, let me roll that back. I have to roll that back because if this dumb, ugly cow said what I think she said, that is even more smug than I thought. Because I think she said, I know how you're going to answer this. Like, imagine the fucking arrogance of these people to speak for her while asking her the question.
See propaganda.
I think I know how you're going to answer this.
Oh my God. Oh my God. The media are such fucking scum. They are such scum. A worse hive of den and villainy you'll never find. Can you imagine the absolute supreme arrogance? Of course, I know that you're one of the good ones, so I know how you're going to answer this. But let's just go through the motions, and I'll ask you anyway, so you can bend the knee, slave. I fucking despise wokeness. I despise these people with all my heart. I would rather die than ever submit to these people. I'm that dead serious about it. I would rather die than use your psychopathic pronouns. You absolute tyrannical freaks. They just make me sick.
But I'm going to ask anyway. I mean, the president tweeted about the jeans ad. That just seems to me...
gross. The orange man. Oh, he tweeted about the ad.
Yeah, I said this last week. Isn't this incredible? Far from starting a war, taking out some drone striking some drug dealers or arresting illegal aliens, far from doing any actual policy, all Trump has to do is express an opinion. It doesn't have to be about anything political. It doesn't have to be anything mean. It can just be an observation, and the left treats it like it's a war crime. The man says a thing, and they're like, oh my God. Oh my God. The president made a comment about broccoli, as if that's the kind of drama our country needs at a time like this.
A very crazy moment for anyone.
Okay, I gotta roll this back. Dude, second by second, this dumb cow is just down. She is just spewing garbage second by second. What is this?
You're going to answer
What's
this,
the tweet?
but I'm going to ask anyway. I mean, the president tweeted about the jeans ad. That just seems to me...
This was the God Emperor of Man's tweet regarding the gene ad. Quote, Sydney Sweeney, a registered Republican, has the hottest ad out there. It's for American Eagle, and the jeans are flying off the shelves. Go get them, Sydney. That is what the God Emperor of Man had to say about it. It's not... He didn't even comment on the politics of it. He didn't say anything about the controversy. All he did was say, what a great ad. Go get him. That's all he said. And it's a war crime. It's a freaking war crime to these people.
A very crazy moment for anyone, and I wondered what that was like.
It was surreal.
It was surreal.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably feel like thankful that somebody had my back in public. Some very powerful people had my back in public. And I wondered if you felt that way.
So she's trying to like make her implicitly align herself with Trump so she can make her look bad?
I wasn't thinking of it like that, or like of any of it. I kind of just put my phone away. I was filming every day. I don't really bring my phone on set. I work and then I go home and I go to sleep.
Because Sydney Sweeney, unlike this midwit, dull-witted cow that's interviewing her, Sydney Sweeney is a professional. She works for a living. This is the thing that, and this is my evidence for that, by the way, because, you may be new to the channel. So you may not know that she had this film with Glenn Powell. What was it called? Anyone But You. It's a romantic comedy. She is a producer. She helps get her own work produced, okay? While she was working on Madam Web, which is one of the most unintentionally awesome and hilarious films of our time, while she was working on that disaster, she was networking with producers and managers and studio heads, and she worked hard to sell her idea to pitch her film, Anyone But You, and because of the opportunity to get in the room with those people, she was able to sell it, and she was able to get the film made. So her point was, well, you may say that Madam Web is a failure and I should be embarrassed, but honestly, if it weren't for that movie, I wouldn't have got Anyone But You made. That's a professional. That's a professional. And so she has what's known as a work ethic, which is something that a lying media shill knows nothing about. It's incredible because just on a work ethic, leaving the incredibly powerful calcium cannons aside, the absolute work ethic of this woman is impressive and she is so far out of the league of this nitwit that is interviewing her. She is so far out of this chick's league. It's not even crazy. It's not even close. Who the fuck even is the... I've never seen this ugly cow in my life before that's interviewing her. I've never seen her before. Who even knows who she is? She's nobody. And she's sitting here acting like she's doing Sydney Sweeney a favor. Okay, let's roll that back. All right, roll tape.
And then I go home and I go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about like, oh, does the president agree with me about this ad that 15 fat women on Twitter are mad about?
The risk is that.
Perfect. 15 fat women on Twitter are mad about the jeans ad.
You know,
you're trying not to have a political opinion, but I want to reiterate the fact that I'm going to just keep asking you leading questions that I'm going to use to imply what your political opinions are. The next one here is, do you like dead babies?
There's a chance that somebody will get some idea about what you think about certain issues.
What are we doing?
And like, do you worry about that?
No.
I love how the anti-fascism crowd, that would be the far left, that would be the woke wackos. I love how they are so worried about policing everyone's thoughts. Isn't that interesting? The people that are so worried about our democracy, the people that are so anti-fascism are obsessed with influencing and managing and controlling the thoughts of everyone else. Interesting.
No.
No.
Yes. No.
The criticism of the content.
No.
Which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. Since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that...
I have to tell you something. Star Fury, you'll appreciate this. The way that modern American women speak is so disgusting. It is so annoying that because they talk like this and they always have this uptone and they always have this passive aggressive way of acting like they're being your friend. But really what they're saying is that you're kind of trash and they're trying to frame it in a way that sounds friendly. And it's really disgusting. It's passive aggressive and it annoys the shit out of me. And I don't like it. I don't like that the rest of the world has to listen to this grating nails on a chalkboard. Like, the way that English or Irish or Scottish women sound is great. It sounds great by comparison. It sounds, or even Southern women. Southern American women sound great. But this kind of like, I guess you would say it's like a coastal elite American female accent is really obnoxious and awful. Like Australian women, oh my God. That's a babe at work right there. The Australian accent, like the Sky News lady, oh my God. Her accent is fantastic. Absolutely. I love an Aussie accent for a woman. But this American accent is so, it's an embarrassment. It's a freaking embarrassment as an American that you have to listen to this, Star Fury.
Which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. Since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that.
Give you an opportunity.
I think that when
She just really tried. This is why everybody hates the media and they hate journalism, by the way.
I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
I wanted to give you an opportunity. You're not going to give her an opportunity. You're putting her in a weird place intentionally to try to make her push your social agenda. It's another obnoxious, annoying, tone policing Karen that's trying to cause discord and chaos in everybody's lives. That's it. We can see it. Yes. Isn't it so obnoxious?
Oh, man. Asmongold with an amazing take right there. All right. For Asmongold, another tone policing Karen. We need www.galaxyborn.com. No, I missed www. There it is. Coming soon. Okay, now, and that's also, that applause is for Sydney Sweeney because she absolutely crushed her. She's like, well, when I have an opinion, you will find out about it, you dumb Karen bitch. Now, what else is in the stack of stuff? This one I have been saving for you, chat, because you've also probably seen this one. Let's just be fair about it. Because it's the Saturday show. We're kind of the cleanup show here. But I actually have not heard this clip in its entirety. I've only heard about it. So I'm going to play it with you live and just see what I think about it. Because honestly, you haven't heard the most interesting opinion until you've heard Captain Garrett's opinion. So, per Hat Tip Colin Rugg on X, he found a clip of actress Jennifer Lawrence says she no longer speaks out about President Trump because she realizes celebrities have zero influence. How long, men? How long have we waited for this day? Dude, it only took like about 10 elections to finally break them of this. But anyway, let's play the clip. I haven't actually heard the clip, so I want to hear it in its entirety. Here we go.
It's also a film that, as we started discussing, it speaks to this political moment in a very interesting and important way.
Oh my God. It's another one of these. It's another one of these Karens. It just speaks to the culture in a very interesting way.
That is funny, that is complicated.
And it's a good idea. It's not a bad idea.
What do you mean?
A revolution.
You have been politically outspoken in the past. Mm-hmm. In the first Trump administration, you had a lot to say.
She blamed the hurricane in Florida on Trump because nature was mad. Mother Nature was mad that a MAGA misogynist was in the White House.
I'm curious how you feel about talking out now.
I don't really know if I should. I think the first Trump administration was so wild, and just how can we let this stand? I felt like I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. But as we've learned, election after election, celebrities do not make a difference whatsoever.
I would just add to that, I can only speak for myself, but I think I probably speak for a lot of other voters out there. Part of my vote for the Orange Man all three times, that would be, you would know him better as the God Emperor of Mankind. My vote included a vote against Hollywood celebrities. My vote was literally to send the middle finger to every single Hollywood celebrity. In fact, one of the things that makes me happiest about the election of Donald Trump is that it made celebrities angry and offended them. Another thing that made me very happy about it is that it made Europeans who look down their nose at Americans as if their opinion matters at all. It was a middle finger to them. as well. Not present company excluded, of course. I'm referring to the elites in European society who they think, yes, so it is our job to run the world and to help the little people run their pathetic lives. The fact that the middle finger went to them also made me happy. So I'm kind of a single issue voter at this point. I don't think I can ever go back to voting for a politician who isn't somehow extremely offensive to all of the established powers in the world. Like if the election of someone is not going to literally shock and offend the elites of our society, I don't think I could vote for him. I really don't. I might have to hold my nose because there just might not be the equivalent of an orange man on the ballot. But I got to tell you, the most satisfying thing I've ever experienced in my voting life is throwing a brick through the window of all of our betters, and his name is Donald Trump. It's been incredibly enjoyable. It's been very fun. I love seeing everything he's done to just drive these loons insane and make them cry. And I look forward to 7 more years at least of it. It's going to be a wild ride, so buckle up. Staffere says, as a Brit, no European opinions ever mattered. Well, credit to you, Starfury. Credit to you. Look. What I'm really saying is it's very obnoxious and very arrogant when literally anyone kind of has like a snobbish opinion of someone else who is an outsider. So like if I went to Australia as a tourist, and I feel sorry for you Australians. And they were like, what are you talking about? I'm like, just the way you do these things is terrible. That's so weird. Why do you live that way? Or like, why do you believe that way? It's like, I probably actually would express sympathy about them not having weapons, but it would actually be like, in a sense of like camaraderie of like, I want this for you. But I wouldn't ever say to them, like, how could you vote for that prime minister? Or how can you run your culture this way? It would be insulting. It's none of my business how Australians run their country. It's none of my unless they are, trying to launch a nuke at us or something. It's none of my business. And that's how I feel about basically any country ever. You might say, well, Captain, but, you supported taking out Iran's nuclear program. It's like, well, that's different. I don't want murderous wackos to have a nuke they could use on us. That's totally separate. Aside from that, I don't give a fuck. I think they're terrible people. That would be the mullahs. But it's none of my business. You know what I'm saying? So the idea that like you're going to go around telling someone else in their country how to live, it's none of your fucking business. So I don't expect Europeans to like it when an American says, well, you should do things this way. It's like, well, we do things differently in France. We like our cheese with our wine. Okay, fine. It's none of my business. So don't come over here. You come down here and you think you understand this world, but you don't. Don't come down here and tell us. It's like Carmine Falcone telling Bruce Wayne, you're Bruce Wayne. You're like the Prince of Gotham. You'd have to go 1,000 miles to meet someone who didn't know your name. You've never tasted desperate. Dude, Batman Begins is such a good movie. It is such a phenomenal movie, man. It's getting better every year that I think about it.
On who people vote for. And so then what am I doing? I'm just sharing my opinion on something that's going to just add fuel to a fire that's ripping the country apart. I mean, we are so divided. I
really despise how leftists, they always frame it this way. They've literally, in some cases, set things on fire. And then they're the ones saying, oh my goodness, we're so divided. You fucking call everyone racist, Nazis, white supremacists, misogynists, homophobes, transphobes, genociders. You accuse everyone in society of the worst crimes possible, to the point where none of those words even have any meaning. And then you say, oh no, we're so divided. Fuck off. Like, get fucked. I don't even care. Ugh. But the point is, they're learning their lesson. And this is actually the bad news. We don't actually want them to get... This is actually a bad trend. If this catches on, if what Jennifer Lawrence is doing here catches on, that's actually not good. Because I guarantee you, those cringe celebrity videos during COVID, and then that cringe Avengers video during the 2024 campaign, where you had Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans and just the whole cat and Mark Ruffalo, and they're all on a shitty like Zoom video, just saying like canned lines about how we gotta get out the vote for Kamala. Oh God, it was so gross and nerd and weird and cringe. That's good for us. That helps the God Emperor of Man continue to be the God Emperor of Man and guide humanity with his divine vision. That's important. But if they start figuring out that when they open their mouths, it helps the Orange Man, well, then that's no good. We want them to continue to be wackos who cry about it. So the good news is it's just Jennifer Lawrence. It's just the first female action star. It's only one of them. The rest of them, far from catching up. Mark Ruffalo is still out there running his mouth every day. So I think we're okay. I think we're okay on that.
I'm in a complicated recalibration because I'm also an artist. And with this temperature and the way that things can turn out, I don't want...
And now Fu Man Blue is shilling my other book, Blood and Oak, which is out now on Amazon. Thanks, Fu Man Blue. I appreciate it.
To start turning people off to films and to art that could change.
Wow, this is a case of too little too late. Is this not the worst case of too little too late you've ever seen? She is now saying, gosh, I don't know if I want to start like running my mouth and turning people off to my art. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God. This is the only reaction I could have to this.
Jesus.
Change consciousness or change the world because they don't like my political opinions. I want to protect my craft so that you can still get lost in what I'm doing, what I'm showing. And if I can't say something that's going to speak to some kind of peace or lowering the temperature or some sort of solution, I just don't want, I don't want to be a part of the problem. I don't want to make the problem worse.
You know, the incredible thing about, what Lawrence is basically saying here is she's saying, I'm an artist. I'm creating something that is an escape. The whole purpose of what I do is to give people a place to go to just get lost in a different world, transported. And if I'm out there running my mouth and just shooting off all my political opinions, I'm destroying that illusion. I'm making it harder for people to get immersed. And so I should stop doing that because I want it to be successful. It's like, well, have you considered the third option? Okay, the third option is you could state your opinion and still show respect to people who disagree with you. You could do that. You could say, I disagree with Donald Trump's policies. I think they're bad for America, and here's why. I think it would be better if we did this instead, and this is the candidate I support. But also, in that same breath, show respect and say he is the president and was elected in a democratic process. And I understand that. I understand people feel differently. And he is our president. But instead, what we get is Kathy Griffin with a severed head of Donald Trump and all kinds of wacko shit like that. And it's like, all you have to do is just be, is just, this is the thing. They always speak about him like he's not a legitimate president. They always say that he's not a legitimate, that like he's not really the president. He's a dictator. It's like, well, the reality is he's the president of the United States of America, the 47th. And you do not reach that office, or at least heretofore, you are not able to reach that office without being elected to that office by the people of this country. So when you suggest that Donald Trump is not actually the president, or that he doesn't qualify as a president, he's a felon, he's a blah, 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 whatever it is you want to say, what you're actually saying is you are disrespecting every single person that voted for him. So it's possible, Jennifer Lawrence, to state your opinion and still be respectful to, and basically not imply that anyone that disagrees with you is a Nazi. Really what it comes down to is if you would stop lying about your fellow Americans, you could probably state your opinion and not torpedo your movies. But you wackos can't do that. You literally believe you have the right to completely destroy anyone who doesn't think like you. That's the problem. That is what has destroyed you. Not having different opinions, not having left-wing opinions. That's not what's caused the problem. You being arrogant, crazy psychopaths that lie about your fellow Americans, that is what has destroyed your craft. And this is really the problem. When I'll tell you, one of the things that makes me boil with rage more than any celebrity, any media person, when I see a world leader, and it's not happening anymore. This shit's over, by the way. But in the first Trump administration, you would see world leaders being disrespectful to Trump as if they had a right to, and you would see them thinking that they could disrespect the president of the United States. It's like nothing made me angrier. And of course, Trump handled it. Don't worry about it. He handled it. He fucking handled them. And it was beautiful. Like, just pushing them out of the way. That's just what he's a master at. But my point is, that's the issue. It's the smugness. It's the arrogance. It's the looking down your nose. It's the acting as though people don't have a right to think differently than you. That's really the problem. That's really the problem. And it would be a lot easier for all of us if they would stop gaslighting everyone into thinking they're the fascists and just admit that really it's the celebrities, it's the media, and it's the elites that are the actual fascists, because they hate diversity of thought. They hate dissent. They hate people having the freedom to form their own opinions. They want to control everyone's perceptions of everything. Everything they do is based on lies, and every single piece of art that they're producing is a propaganda piece designed to push all of their crazy social engineering narratives. And if they would stop doing that and get back to storytelling, this wouldn't be a problem. But at the end of the day, we have inflicted defeat after defeat after withering, debilitating, catastrophic defeat on these wackos. And they're finally starting to understand who's in charge, which is we, the customer. We're in charge. And we're not done. Try this story. What was the website, Lieutenant? Oh, Bounding Into Comics. That's right. Bounding Into Comics. Let me grab that. Yes, Michael Archangel. The term Nazi is so overused. Well, it's used by illiterates, historical illiterates who don't actually understand what Nazis actually were. They don't understand. They actually don't even really know what any of their policies were. They don't actually know the reasons why their ideology was so malevolent and destructive. That's the fascinating thing about it. They don't actually understand. If they understood why Nazi ideology was so malevolent, so cancerous and destructive, if they understood the actual reasons for that, they would never accuse someone of simply voting differently as being a Nazi. They just wouldn't do it. But they're illiterates, and they don't actually understand history. And we are not responsible for them being stupid and believing lies. I'm not responsible for people who believe lies. That's their business. Our job is simply to ensure that we prevail in the marketplace of culture and ideas, and that they do not. Now, from Spencer Bakuli over at Bounding Into Comics, Paramount is over the Star Trek Kelvin timeline and wants a new film with no connection to the J.J. Abrams reboot. I have got to tell you, chat. I've got to tell you. I had strong problems and objections to the J.J. Abrams films when they came out. But at the time, I thought they were, on balance, a good thing. Yes, they're kind of dumb action movies that sort of lose the true meaning of what Star Trek is, but on the other hand, there seems to be a love for the characters, and the actors seem to be really doing their best, and it's bringing new people into the franchise. That was a huge mistake in my thinking. And in retrospect, in hindsight, I've come to absolutely despise the J.J. Abrams films because I now understand what they were. They were hollowed out. They were an early example of IP mining. Well, they're basically what Alien Romulus and Predator Badlands and Alien Derp and all of Disney's Star Wars, they're basically what that was. They are taking a storied franchise, gutting it, changing it, hollowing it out, making it something meaningless. Open quote, after 8 years on hiatus and another being jerked around by the whims of scrambling executives, a new report suggests that the Star Trek Kelvin timeline is officially dead in the water, as Paramount wants to move the franchise away from having anything to do with J.J. Abrams' lens flare-heavy trilogy. By the way, Star Trek Beyond is the worst of the three. It really is. That film is so boring. I tried to watch it again. I've only seen it once. I saw it once in the theater. I tried to watch it again. I cannot get through 20 minutes of it. It's so freaking boring. The reboot film series' apparent scrapping was first reported by Variety's Tatiana Siegel, Brent Lang, and Matt Donnelly as part of their deep dive into newly appointed Paramount CEO David Ellison's, quote, dramatic first 100 days as the head of the studio. Following a look over the internal division caused by Ellison's more politically charged operating decisions, such as throwing the company's support behind the Israeli government, ew, gross, and cozying up to President Trump. Close quote for a second. Is it just me, or is Bounding Into Comics like going through a weird identity crisis? Because sometimes I'm reading a Bounding Into Comics article, and it's not like I need it to be right-wing or anything, but I'm beginning to feel like I'm reading, IGN or something. Open quote. To the tune of a public demand for Warner Brothers Discovery to be sold to Paramount Skydance, the report turned to how, despite the disagreements over strategy, there is a shared sense of urgency around the need to fundamentally transform Paramount. Going through the studio's current production plans, the Variety team eventually came to Star Trek and relayed that, per their insider sources, quote, the hope is to have a fresh Star Trek movie, though the studio has moved on from the idea of bringing back Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, and the rest of the ensemble from the J.J. Abrams reboot. Sadly, despite the surprising fun factor of the Kelvin timeline, fans have long surmised that the cinematic series was always headed for such an unceremonious end. After its first trilogy wrapped with 2016's Star Trek Beyond, has it been that long, the aforementioned Abrams immediately followed its release by confirming that he was already at work on Star Trek IV, which would involve the return of George Kirk, as played by Chris Hemsworth, who was thought dead at the end of the first film. But rather than a quick and easy production, the USS Enterprise's next adventure would spend the next 6 years in development hell, thrown between various writers and directors, including Alien Derp director Noah Hawley and Fantastic Four First Steps Matt Shakman, but never moving any further. Then, during a February 2022 Paramount Investor Relations Day presentation, Abrams suddenly announced that Star Trek IV would see the return of the franchise's main cast, an update that came as a shock to the actors themselves, none of whom had even begun negotiations for a possible return. Another 2 years of development hell later, Paramount would confirm a January 2024 report that Variety's Michaela Z regarding their separate decision to make a Kelvin timeline prequel film. Oh my god, what a waste of time that would be. Oh, a fucking prequel to the Kelvin films. Ugh! Gross! That would be the last anyone would hear of the Star Trek reboot line until now. At present, Paramount has not confirmed any specific plans for the Star Trek IP. But luckily for them, given the quality of Discovery, they have nowhere to go but up. Ah, I see what you did there. Very drawn. Let me see. I was curious because he linked to this Variety article, David Ellison's dramatic first 100 days at Paramount, courting Tom Cruise blockbusters, forging ties with Trump, hail the God Emperor of Man, and daring anyone else to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. Well, this could be a promising sign, because anything that is not woke wackoism might mean good Star Trek on some level. So who knows? Maybe Terry Matalas will get the Star Trek legacy going. It's always a possibility. I'm just skimming this article, so I'm just curious if there's anything interesting here. These usually run long. White House spokesperson Anna Kelly says the fight will be a spectacular event. No, skip that. Oh, listen to this. Oh, these wacko Karen writers, they're so mad. Quote, while the spectacle might sound like a discarded scene from the 2006 dystopian comedy Idiocracy, it provides a glimpse into Ellison's rising empire, one that skews alpha male and that some fear will entwine the studio's content more closely with MAGA messaging. In rapid-fire fashion, the 42-year-old Ellison has become show business's ultimate disruptor. The industry's first millennial mogul wants to change the DNA of Hollywood while building a new type of entertainment leviathan out of the husk of a once legendary film and television studio. And Paramount, which declined to comment, is just the beginning. Quote, we're going after Warner's, Ellison told confidants even before the Paramount deal got the Trump administration's approval. I want to be in the top 3, not the bottom 3. By accounts of many industry insiders, Ellison has been busy leveraging his family's extraordinary wealth and access to President Trump, gross, to prepare for a buying spree. With the help of his father, Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison, the world's second richest person behind Elon Musk. Oh, ew, disgusting. The Silicon Valley scion wants to take on Netflix, Amazon, and Apple. In the hyper-competitive Ellison family, there's no prize for being runner-up. If the Ellisons pull it off, they'll control a media empire with unprecedented reach and cultural influence. Star Fury is off to bed. It's time for Betty Buys. Everyone speak to you all next week. Well, thanks for joining us, Star Fury. And don't forget the restream will be out there if you want to catch up. Star Fury is off to bed to get his beauty sleep. I'm curious if there's anything else just super... Let's see. Hollywood may be wary of the Ellison family. A disaster for writers, for consumers, and for competition. I'm sifting through this for any evidence that it's pissing off the woke wackos, because if it is, that means we have a chance at possibly turning Star Trek around. But in any case, that's enough of that. We'll let that lie, Mr. Producer. We have yet more in the stack of stuff. So that concludes our edition of Grave Dancing for the week. Now, Let's see here. Yes, we have... So The Witcher. The Witcher is a total disaster. Complete failure. And we have 2 videos on this. I'm only going to watch one, but we have Nerdrotic's review of The Witcher, which I'm not going to watch. I have no interest in it. But I do want to hear what they have to think about it. So we could do Nerdrotic's review or Critical Drinker's review. But I do have another Critical Drinker video later as well to watch. So, what do we think? Nerdrotic, maybe? Let's do Critical. You know what? His thumbnail's too good. Let's do Critical Drinker. Let me find... Get me my screen switch, Mr. Producer. I really need another monitor. That's what I need. That's the thing we need, is another monitor. All right. Here we go. The Witcher Season 4, a show so awful it broke me, says the Critical Drinker. Roll tape, Mr. Producer. Do we have sound?
We
Yes,
all
we do.
must suffer for our art, dear viewer. Some of us have to endure bitter physical hardships, or drastically altering our appearance, or even lose our minds entirely in pursuit of a role. But truly, all of that pales into insignificance compared to what I had to endure over the weekends. That's right, I have watched Season 4 of The Witcher.
Oh man. Oh god, oh man.
Or at least I tried to, but by all the gods and all the curses of Entish, Elvish, and the tongues of men, this one fought me every inch of the way, and in the end, I was defeated. The man who conquered Blood Origin, who took down the Acolyte, who endured the depravity of Last of Us Season 2, was finally undone by this show. The Witcher Season 4 is without doubt one of the most wretchedly miserable products of human endeavour that I've ever experienced. A show that somehow combines all the worst aspects of every other terrible sci-fi and fantasy project of the past decade into one horrifying congealed mass of shittiness. The laughably bad acting, production design, and 21st century metropolitan diversity of Willow, the hammy writing and overblown melodrama of Rings of Power, the relentless gender and sexual politics of the Acolyte, and the insufferably annoying characters of Peacemaker. And the thing that's worst of all is that it's all hammered home with the dour, self-important seriousness of House of the Dragon, only without any of the intelligence, sharp dialogue, or interesting characters. Basically what I'm saying with all this shite is...
Wow. Just wow. That really does sound like a witch's brew of absolute shit.
That the reality of Witcher Season 4 isn't as bad as we all feared it would be.
The reality is much, much worse.
Let me show you.
Oh man, do you know what? I cannot stop thinking about how Event Horizon is set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. It is absolutely set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe.
Let's get this pish over with quick so that I can slip into something more comfortable. Like a fucking coma. The story picks up shortly after the events of Season 3, where our 3 leads have been split up and separated. Because literally every person, animal, and object in the Witcher universe is now looking for her, Ciri is now on the run with a fake identity, where she's fallen in with this carefully chosen group of diverse individuals.
This is unbelievable. Like, it looks anachronistic. Like, none of these characters look like they actually... They all look like they belong in a Starbucks in Santa Monica. That's what they look like. They look like they are LARPing, that they're taking a break from LARPing in the park to get a Starbucks. They don't look like they are even in a fantasy universe. You know, the movie I thought was going to be terrible was that Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine, Honor Among Thieves, I think it was called. And I thought it was going to be terrible. And it actually was pretty good. And the characters are very likable. And they actually do seem to fit in that world. I thought it was going to be like this. I thought it was going to be like modern actors LARPing as fantasy characters. But no, they actually fit into their world fairly well. And I enjoyed it. This is pathetic.
Jules.
Right.
Honestly, this has got to be some kind of piss take, man. How is this show even real? The only thing that's missing is a guy in a wheelchair to turn it into a poster for modern day Dungeons and Dragons. We're all just living our truth, you guys. Anyway, these are the rats, and they survive by stealing food and money from hard-working, law-abiding citizens, which is perfectly fine according to the rules of modern writing, as long as you're poor and diverse. And Siri soon starts a relationship.
It's the Family Guy meme. It's like, hey, that doesn't belong to you. You can't steal that from hardworking people. It's okay. I'm poor and black. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, do whatever you want, anytime, anywhere. Then that's basically what it is.
With whoever the fuck this girl is. Oh yeah, Siri's gay, by the way.
You don't say!
Oh my goodness, who could have predicted this turn of events in a modern fantasy show? Joking aside, if I was a young woman who had the misfortune of watching a show like this, I'd actually feel pretty uncomfortable with these weird...
At least they're good-looking lesbians, but oh my god, it's so bad. It's so bad. Michael Archangel says, Captain, thoughts about Cavill rebooting the Highlander? Let me look for a story on it, and I'll tell you what I think about it.
Hollywood writers and their absolute obsession with lesbian relationships. Like every same-sex friendship I form is somehow expected to lead to scissoring because that's just the progressive thing to do. Anyway, whatever. The second major plot thread follows Yennefer, who's busy girl-bossing her way through the world so that she can gather an army to take down evil magician guy who's now assumed control of the Brotherhood of Mages. I love how this sorcerer, who's never been a physical powerhouse in her life and relies entirely on her magic to defend herself, is now easily able to take down knights in full battle armor because modern day writing, I guess. She's also on the hunt for Siri, because of course she is, because Siri being missing and everyone desperately needing to find her is literally the plot for every single season of this fucking show. And she's not the only one looking for her, because Emperor Emir realizes the Siri he's been given is actually a fake Siri and his plans to father a child of the Elder Blood with her. Yes, this really is a plot point, aren't gonna work until he finds the real one. Oh yeah, and Garrett's in the show as well. Anyway, moving on. You know how one of the big criticisms of The Witcher, especially as the narrative progressed into Season 3, was that Garrett was basically relegated to a background character in his own show in favour of the twin rulers of Girl Boss Mountain, Yennefer and Ciri? Well, strap in, because Season 4 is going to give you even more girl bosses. And maybe once in a while, Garrett might be allowed to take part in some irrelevant fight scene, saving an innocent woman from some bandits, or saving more innocent women from being burned as witches. Are you spotting a theme here? All while pining for Ciri and Yennefer, of course. Holy shit, man, Henry Cavill must be laughing his ass off. I mean, no wonder he bailed on this show. The writers seem to resent Geralt's very existence in the story, and do everything they can to break him down and keep him sidelines. You've really got to feel bad for Liam Hemsworth. I mean, I'm sure the money was good and all, but let's be honest here, this role isn't going to do his career any favours. He was handed an absolute poison chalice with this one, given the thankless task of filling Cavill's boots, with a writing team that clearly see him as surplus to requirements anyway. He spends the first few episodes basically in a holding pattern, doing nothing of any real significance, while the writing team lavish the bulk of the plot-moving events on other, more important characters. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like Hemsworth distinguishes himself with his performance either. His take on Geralt is more flaccid than a male feminist in front of a Sydney Sweeney poster, and it just emphasises how much heavy lifting Cavill was doing in a show that didn't even appreciate him. Yaski is still an insufferable prick that makes me want to grab a power drill and perform a frontal lobotomy on myself every single time he opens his retarded mouth. The guy flounces through every scene with the exaggerated flamboyance of a 1980s action flick's idea of what a gay man should act like. The rats are a bunch of absolute wankers as well, nothing but a series of stereotypes and cardboard cutouts masquerading as characters. Not a single one of them can fucking act to save their lives, and they all talk and act like they just walked in off the street from 2025. I can't emphasize enough how much shit like this completely destroys any sense of immersion in the show. Even in the later seasons when the writing fell off a cliff, Game of Thrones at least still looked and felt like a believable fantasy world. The Witcher feels more like an SNL skit filmed in any vaguely old buildings the production could find, with medieval costumes ordered direct from Temu, only there's no punchline to any of the jokes. I honestly don't know how a show that costs hundreds of millions of dollars ended up looking and feeling so fucking cheap, but somehow Netflix managed it. Aside from that, all the usual problems that have dogged The Witcher since the very beginning are present and correct here, only worse. The convoluted, overarching storyline that's trying to juggle way more factions and characters than the writing team could possibly handle. The hammy performances by actors who look like they're dying from terminal cringe that make Xena Warrior Princess look like Lord of the Rings in comparison. The complete lack of geographical understanding that's only made worse by every single village, town and city looking like every other because apparently medieval fantasy lands have to reflect the world we live in today. In fact, the problems become so laughably bad that not only does every location in The Witcher look like every other, but The Witcher itself looks like every other generic fantasy show that's been made in the past 5 years. It's like if fantasy was manufactured by IKEA. And of course, there's the never-ending push to make every female character into a powerful, all-conquering girl boss that has to be the centre of everything, whose only weakness is the men around them holding them back from true greatness. Hate to be the one...
He's so right about that. This is like all modern TV storytelling has become sort of carbon copies of themselves. Like they all are sort of blending into this homogenous combined sludge. It's really depressing
to point this out, guys, but the majority of your target audience for a show like this is men, and if this is the best you can offer them, well, don't be surprised if they check the fuck out. The Witcher really did have everything in place to be the next Game of Thrones. The resources, the actors, the IP, and the baked-in fan base. It could have been the definitive fantasy show that would dominate TV for the next decade and probably spawn an entire extended universe of spin-off shows. All they had to do was stay faithful to the source material and not bastardize it in the name of pandering to modern audiences. And well, they failed. Big time. As Nerdrotic once pointed out, if you play social justice games, then you win social justice prizes. And truly, Lauren Hisrich and her team of retards have played the biggest social justice game of them all, with hundreds of millions of dollars of other people's money and a beloved IP that she didn't have a hand in creating. And her prize? A show that nobody fucking wants. So I'm gonna say what I said about Kathleen Kennedy when the dust settled from the Star Wars sequel trilogy. I hope it was all worth it. I hope you feel real good about yourself when this is all over, because you're gonna be remembered as the showrunner who fumbled the biggest layup of all time. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Well, there you have it. That is the Critical Drinker, crushing it as always. Yeah, I'm not watching that. Not watching it. It's going to be tough to do my top... I usually do a top 10 best and worst list for TV and movies at the end of every year, and it's going to be tough. I'm shrinking it to 5 this year, because my typical rule is I have to have seen it for me to rate it, and I've really skipped a lot of these. I did not watch Peacemaker. I have no interest at all. I have not watched The Witcher Season 4. I have no interest at all. There's just a lot of those. There's a lot of those, like one battle after another. No interest at all. I'm not going to watch it. So I've really just been watching these reviews. And yes, I watched the things that interest me enough to watch them. So I'm thinking it's going to be like a top 5 this year, because... Fuck. It's bad out there, folks. It's really bad out there.
Oh, you think it's slop. That's fine. But we live in a world full of hogs.
Really? Calibrate your enthusiasm.
Yes, that's how I feel right now. Now, we have more in the stack of stuff. Let me grab... I found a fascinating article. And it intrigues me because it's about the concept of, will AI replace writers? Now, I think AIs will definitely replace Disney writers. I think they already have, if Predator Badlands is any indication. But that being said,
It is a valid concern for any bard. So I came across this Substack. I haven't read it yet, so I wanted to check it out with you. And before we do, a quick programming note. So just a little inside baseball on the status of the channel. I've been working with a YouTube coach who's been kind of helping me fix the problems with the channel, and we've kind of stumbled on some interesting things. It would be getting into too much inside baseball, but the short of the long is basically this. This channel is kind of sunk in the algorithm because of some mistakes I made and just some unlucky things that happened to me with my videos and just how I was sort of targeting things. So, to wit, this channel remains the Swords that you may have noticed. The name of the channel is Swords and Starships Live. This is the channel where I will have the live shows, the Captain's Cast, the members live streams, and that sort of thing. But I'm working on doing a new version of the Swords and Starships channel that is just videos. And this time, the goal is to avoid some of the early mistakes that I made. So I'm going to be relaunching the Swords and Starships video channel later this month, and my goal is to launch it with Stranger Things, which is debuting because I'm very excited about Stranger Things. I want to review it. I want to get into it. And I have some other videos some other movies I wanted to review in my backlog that are movies I really love, such as Godzilla Minus One and Interstellar. And so my goal is to kind of launch with a few videos ready to go. And I also have a backlog of some things I meant to review this year, and I've even recorded, but I haven't finished editing. So short of the long is this channel remains this channel. It'll be the live channel, and then the other channel will be for videos, and we will cross-pollinate. So stay tuned for more info on that. But I'm working on getting explain more, please, says Michael Archangel. Explain what specific questions do you have, sir? And actually, you also asked me about my thoughts on Henry Cavill and the Highlander thing. So let me check on that, actually. Henry Cavill Highlander. Let me see if I can find something. Oh, perhaps you were referring to Fu Man Blue. Never mind. You just asked my thoughts. Jeremy Irons to play the villain. Oh, that's pretty good. Highlander 2025 first trailer. Is there a trailer, or is this just a fan fiction thing? It's a concept. Yeah, it's fan fiction. There's no real... They've got like Dave Bautista. Do not want. We have a Collider article. Highlander's Dave Bautista calls Henry Cavill reboot a game changer as production nears start. Well, let's just jump in on this article. At Tip Collider. When Highlander begins filming later this month, Dave Bautista will be ready, but not without some bruises. Speaking with Collider's Michael Zimmerman, the actor detailed his rigorous preparation for Chad Stahelski's upcoming reboot, calling it one of the most demanding but rewarding experience of his career. Stahelski, that's the John Wick director, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. That's yeah, that's the John Wick director. Okay, well, that's an excellent choice. That's an excellent choice. How old is this article? I didn't look. I just pulling something so I can get my bearings. This is published 2 days ago. The article's 2 days old. So, Batista saying he's been training for months. Batista has been in London since late August, squeezing in training between other projects. This is all about Batista. Henry Cavill's recent injury? Cavill has confirmed reports displaying his injured appendage. Oh my God. It's not anything valuable, I hope. In the post, Cavill shows off his wrapped foot and ankle. Oh, thank God. An injury he incurred while training for the movie's extensive swordplay. You know, it's kind of a miracle this doesn't happen more often to actors. They were meant to start shooting in August, but Hank got hurt. Yeah, so it looks like his foot took a hit. He quoted in a post the 1875 poem Invictus by William Ernest Henley, which is best known for its final two lines, quote, "I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. The poem is meaningful to Cavill's injury. Henley had his leg amputated below the knee when he was a teenager and nearly lost the other leg before it was saved by surgical intervention. Henley wrote the poem while recovering from surgery, and it has become an iconic mantra for overcoming adversity. Again, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. That's a great quote. Oh, I love his doggo. Oh, he's a good dog. Well, I'll tell you, Michael Archangel, my opinion so far is we got Henry Cavill literally working himself to the point of injury. We have Chad Stahelski of John Wick fame, and I am a giant fan of the John Wick films. And let's face it, the John Wick films, the action is some of the best, most innovative action we've seen in movies really in the last 2 decades. Like, in the way that Schwarzenegger and Stallone defined action in the 80s, you might argue that Jason Statham defined action in the 90s. You have Chad Stahelski's John Wick series defining action in our era. So I think this is very promising, and John Wick films have a very masculine tone and identity, and they've never shied away from that. Like, yes, they have powerful leading ladies, supporting ladies in those movies, like Halle Berry, and they're great. They complement John Wick, but the John Wick series remains very, very masculine in its style and tone. And so I think that Highlander is very likely, based on what I'm seeing here, in pretty good hands. Jeremy Irons is going to be in it, if I read that correctly, which that sounds really great. So I'm not even like a huge Highlander fan. I just, for whatever reason, I missed that whole cultural thing, but this sounds like something that could get me into it. Definitely. So that's good news. All right, let me pull this Substack here. So we'll just get rid of that article. And did I share my screen, Mr. Producer? Okay, here we go. Yeah, so hat tip MS Olney. It's a Substack. And I just thought I would explore this article. I haven't read it yet, but it intrigued me. Here's the headline: What people keep getting wrong about AI and why us writers can relax. So one of the reasons I brought this up is there's been a lot of dooming about AI and what it means for humanity lately, and I've been kind of getting sucked into a little bit of that, so I thought, why not explore a possible white pill here? So here we go. Everyone's talking about artificial intelligence as if it's the end of writing as we know it, but here's the thing. It's not. Now, this is interesting because this is very along... I mean, I haven't heard the arguments yet, but this is very close to my opinion of AI. I don't think AI is going to replace good writers because, you see, great art doesn't come from the mind. This is very important to get. Great art does not come from the mind. The mind thinks it does, and the mind tricks you into thinking it does. And the mind is very obsessed with things like save the cat beat sheets and proper balance between character, work, and plot. But those are all details. Those are all those are all things that are applied later. The true source of art is the domain of the spiritual. It's the superconsciousness. It's a place of eternal silence and the sacred.
It's a place that none of us have full access to. It visits us when we create the conditions for it to visit us. But the reality is that when an artist honestly believes that their own mind is the source of their art, that's when their art starts to decline. It comes from something larger than ourselves. And until AI has a spiritual personage, it's never going to be able to replace true creativity. That doesn't mean it isn't posing a problem in many different ways. And it certainly has the potential to make writers lazy and rot their brains. I think that's a huge possibility. But can it truly replace Guillermo Del Toro or Christopher Nolan or Takashi Yamazaki? No. Not even close. Never. So let's see what this writer, MS Olney, has to say about it. Quote, I'm sure you've probably encountered them online by now. You know who I mean. Those insufferable people who wail, bitch, and complain constantly about AI. Who accuse any writers who disagree with their frankly Luddite takes of being traitors and not writing their own work. These people believe the machines are lining up to take our gerbs and our souls in one go. A bit like those Luddites from the 19th century who complained when machines were first introduced in factories or when computers replaced the typewriter. Close quote for a second. It is true that there was a period where writers were very precious about insisting on using old school typewriters and not using like word processors on computers. And it's like those days are gone. I write on my iPad and I love it. I don't write any other way but on a computer now. I did used to write by hand when I was a teenager. Okay, open quote. AI is a tool, nothing more. AI is not creative. It cannot make an original thought. It doesn't think, it doesn't feel, and it definitely doesn't care. What it does is mimic. Sometimes convincingly, often laughably poorly, and it tells you what it thinks you want it to, what you want to hear. If you've actually dabbled with it and used it, I use it in my day job to speed up projects and assist with tasks, you'd realize that AI is not a threat to human writers at all. The biggest threat comes from human non-writers, those who haven't spent years of their life writing professionally or for their livelihoods. Let me read that sentence again. The biggest threat comes from human non-writers. Human non-writers. So this author is saying, like, basically the problem is people that say they're writers, but they're really not, I think is what they're getting at. Those who haven't spent years of their life writing professionally or for their livelihoods. These people are often semi-literate and think that AI-produced words are great. Like the writers of freaking Predator Badlands. Or Alien Romulus. These people are often sadly, there's a lot of them, another failure of education, but we need to accept that there's nothing we can do about them. I've been seeing it a lot lately in the professional and business worlds. Audiences have learned what is AI and what isn't. Most don't want AI-produced content. They want the human touch. They want to be able to relate to the creator. In marketing, we're seeing this more and more. AI-generated emails, etc., are ignored far more than those with a human touch. AI is not smart. What it's doing is mathematical prediction dressed up as insight. Close quote for a second. That's exactly accurate. Basically, how AI works is They say this is the target, and we'll give you a score on how close you are to the target. If you don't hit the target, try again until you hit it. And so basically, AI keeps running. It keeps running scenarios until it hits the right score, and it just starts to get very good at hitting the right score. So that's a very layman's way of explaining it, but basically that's essentially what it's doing. Fu Man Blue says they're going to make an argument based on the current state of AI. They always do. It will advance very, very fast now. Totally agree with you, Fu Man Blue, and I don't think this writer is ignoring that. And I certainly am not ignoring that. Believe me, I understand that AI is about to be orders of magnitude more advanced. I stand by what I'm saying, though, which is that that doesn't mean it's going to have a soul. And if I were to, surmise what this writer is saying, they're saying that AI is essentially a very good mimicking machine. That's really all it is. And yes, it's going to get better and better and better at that. But that doesn't mean it actually creates anything, because it doesn't. And that's the difference. Michael Archangel says, it can, in its own way, replicate an author's writing style, but without guidance, it can't further than a copying machine. Fu Man Blue says, it's learning from our online activity every day, and yes, it is. It gets smarter in 1 second than all the intellect of the average person. See, I think that's kind of where I'm. That's exactly my point, Fu Man Blue. Is it going to match our intellect or exceed it? Probably. But see, the intellect is not the seat of creativity. That's my point. Believe me, I did not always used to think this way. In my 20s, I did not think this way at all. I've come to this realization later in life. But it is the seat of creativity is something that is not going to exist in AI, if at least for a long time, in my view, which is basically data. Until we have data or Edie or an equivalent fictional character that clearly has a soul, we're not going to be seeing an AI that has true creativity. Sources, Fu Man Blue says, yeah, I know, but I was just making a pre-article prediction. Yeah, fair. I'm responding to what you said. That's all. You said what you said, and I'm responding to it. That's all. Without creative interaction, it's going to fail, Michael Archangel says. Yeah, so here's what I think AI is definitely going to do. It is definitely going to replace bad writers. 100%. Like, what we're seeing in terms of the level of quality of most stuff, I do think AI can do that. Because what I'm seeing is just recycled tropes. Like this Alien Predator Badlands. Perfect example. There's nothing in that movie that is not easily just a ChatGPT dialogue prompt. Like, nothing. There's actually a scene, I'm trying to recall this dialogue in Badlands. Like, the robot chick is sitting around a fire with the Predator. I keep wanting to call him the alien. And what did he say? He makes some kind of joke, right? And then she says, what was that? What? She says, what did you say? And then he repeats what he says. And she's like, was that a joke? And it's like, it's so on the nose. It's so obvious. It's like, it's such bad dialogue that I'm like, that clearly an AI could have easily spit that out. But the thing that AI is never going to replace, I mean never, is Quentin Tarantino, Takashi Yamazaki, Guillermo Del Toro, J.K. Rowling. It's if he would ever write, George R.R. Martin. Like, it's not going to replace people like that, because those people have a vision that comes from the soul, the true seat of creativity. I admit it's a somewhat metaphysical argument, but it is my opinion. Okay, resuming with the article. Let's see, where was I? I lost my place. What words tend to appear? Okay, yeah. So AI is not smart. It's doing a mathematical prediction. It's learned through endless data ingestion what words tend to appear near each other. And when you ask it to write, it just keeps guessing the next word over and over again. Read enough AI-generated writing, and you start to spot the patterns. It sounds confident, but says nothing, sort of like a Kamala Harris speech. It sounds confident, but says nothing. That is a perfect description. You know, I think this article is convincing me in real time that we are already seeing TV shows produced with AI. I think we already are, because that is exactly how I would describe the dialogue and the storyline in Predator Badlands. That's exactly how I would describe, what was the other just like trash that I watched this year? Alien Derp. Oh, that's a perfect. perfect. That's exactly how I would describe Alien Derp. Like, I think that so much like Captain Mothman, Brave New World, like so much of what I've seen this year, I think is already described perfectly with this. It sounds confident, but says nothing. Resume quote, it repeats itself. It leans on generic phrasing and safe ideas, close quote. That is so exactly on point. Is that not what every Disney show and movie is now? Safe. Oh, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, or Dominion, or whatever the fuck the most recent one was. Afterbirth. Yeah, Jurassic World Afterbirth. That's exactly what it is. It's safe. Resume quote, it waffles because it's not actually saying anything. It's just assembling sentences that sound like they mean something. To any trained copywriter, the content it produces is essentially slop. Sure, it can generate the skeleton of a piece, but it still requires the human to add, edit, and use their creative skills to bring it to life and to reach an audience. AI also has no concept of truth. Ask it for facts, and 9 times out of 10, it'll happily invent them. Close quote for a second. This is so deadly accurate. I asked ChatGPT just to give me some ideas, and I just, in lieu of an internet search, I said, ChatGPT, just list for me the 10 most interesting planets in Mass Effect, and just give me the first couple bullet points about the world. You know, just find me 10 of the interesting planets in Mass Effect. And literally, it was the equivalent of a search. That's all I was doing, and it listed them. And this is how nerdy I am with Mass Effect, because I've read every single planet's description in the game multiple times. I've read the entire codex back to front. I've literally spent hours in a Mass Effect game just reading the codex. Hours. I'm in the middle of a mission, paused in the middle of a mission, and I'm just reading the codex and going down a rabbit hole. I've done that. So ChatGPT spits out 10 planets. Every single description was wrong. Wildly inaccurate to the lore. And I said, ChatGPT, you're lying to me. That's not what that planet is. That's not even the name of that planet. Resume quote, it'll give you sources that don't exist or quotes that no one ever said. It's not lying as such. It just doesn't even know what lying is. It's just following the pattern that seems most likely. That's the magic trick of AI. It sounds intelligent, but it isn't. It's an echo chamber of everything that's ever been said and a remix machine for the internet's collective noise. There's a good reason why educational establishments ban its use for students, and those that do allow it insist that any results are thoroughly researched to ensure accuracy. Using AI should be increasing critical thinking, but alas, humans are lazy and most often take things at face value, even if it's a blatant falsehood or lie. Just look at how the media and politicians spout lies for a good example. The difference between data and experience. Real writing comes from our human experience. It comes from how we see, feel, and remember. We writers take chaos and turn it into something of meaning. When we write, we often draw on heartbreak, joy, boredom, curiosity, and everything in between. AI can't do that. It doesn't have memories, feelings, or the faintest idea what love or grief are. It doesn't sit at a desk battling a sentence that won't come together or feel the quiet rush when it finally does. It can produce ideas that a writer can then work with, but it still requires the author's heavy involvement. In my experience, I have used it to generate outlines of ideas, and then it's down to me to heavily edit, tweak, and add emotion and feeling into it. Close quote. That's exactly how I use it. I use it as a kind of sounding board. I'm like, hey, suggest some possible ideas for this technology or whatever. And it can give me like some basic ideas, but it is interesting how it will often kind of merge multiple concepts that don't really go together because it's just trying to feed you what it thinks you want to hear, which is even not an accurate way of describing it because it doesn't think, but it's trying to predict what you will want to hear. And so even when it's used as a sounding board, it can kind of be annoying in that way. But it is great for like, I can say, hey, here's everything I'm going to write about in this section of the story. Can you organize this into an outline for me? And it can be very useful for stuff like that. It's still not perfect, and I have to edit the outline and tweak it a lot, but it does help me quickly structure my thoughts, which I do. But that's really the only way you can use it. Open quote, AI is a tool just like Photoshop is to artists and designers, and most of those tools also now incorporate AI too. It can make you more productive, but it cannot do the work for you at all. Readers might not always be able to explain why they can tell the difference, but they sure can feel it. There's a pulse in real writing, a voice behind the words. An AI can mimic the shape of that voice, but it can't fake a soul. Holy shit. Did I not say it? Did I not say it? My very thoughts. My very thoughts. It can't fake a soul. It isn't connected to the source of all creation like a living being is. Let me put it another way. I think a dog, and I love dogs, I think a dog has more actual connection to creativity than an AI does. I think a dog is more connected to emotion and consciousness than an AI, no matter how smart the AI. I don't care how smart it is, and they will get smarter. It will not have even close to the amount of soul and feeling and connection to creation itself as a dog or a cat. Hell, maybe even a beetle for that matter. Because life is life. And I'm not saying that, listen, I'm a Star Trek fan, okay? I'm leaving open the possibility that something like Data or the Doctor on Voyager might exist someday. I'm leaving that potential open. But I'm saying we are a long way from that. A long, long way. Darth Merlin is in the chat. Says, I'm usually here, I just don't post very often. But welcome to the chat, Darth Merlin. Good to see you. What if the soul is just a sufficiently advanced algorithm? Yes, I would say, Darth Merlin, that's a very materialistic way of looking at the universe. It's the way I used to look at the universe when I was a hardcore atheist for a while. And I don't think that at all. I think it's a very cold and lifeless, detached and clinical way of looking at life and what it is and where it comes from. And I think the reason why I think humans fall into this trap. Here's why we fall into this trap. Because we are the only animals in the animal kingdom with a sufficiently advanced brain to where we have a mind. We past and present and future are mind concepts. They're intellectual concepts. There's no such thing as past or future for a dog or a cat or an ant colony. There's no such thing. There is no such thing as time in the way we know of it. Now you can say, oh, but it exists. Well, sure it exists, but what I'm saying is life exists with its own innate intelligence and presence and consciousness that actually has nothing to do with the mind or the intellect. And so, in fact, the film Frankenstein is actually a really excellent example of an exploration of this very philosophy. Victor Frankenstein is obsessed. He's obsessed with the ability of the human mind to overcome death itself. And therein lies the seeds of his own destruction and downfall, because he has utterly failed to recognize that the human mind and our intellect and our ambitions and our desires are woefully inferior to the vastness of nature and life itself. and to the soul. And so, interestingly enough, the film begins with Frankenstein feeling sort of persecuted when all of his intellectual peers call what he's doing heresy and sacrilege, and it's awful, it's an abomination, and he thinks they're all foolish and they don't understand. By the end of the film, he's completely learned his lesson, right? So what I'm saying is, if you're trying to argue that you could say, well, a soul might just be a super advanced algorithm, I don't believe that for a second. Not for a second. Because to me, how can I put this? As a cloud is to the ocean, the mind and the intellect is to the soul. As a lake, perhaps is a better analogy, as a lake is to the ocean, the mind and the intellect is to the soul. And that's what I'm saying. They're not the same thing. There's a reason why music and poetry and even stories are able to hit us on memes are able to hit us on a level that words fail us. That simple words and intellectual exercises, like literally, Darth Merlin, let me ask you this. Can you explain to me why the J.D. Vance memes exist and why they're so funny and why they're so helpful to J.D. Vance? The fat J.D. Vance meme, why does it exist? I cannot explain to you what the J.D. Vance meme really is. I could describe it. I could say, oh, it's an image of a fat J.D. Vance. But that's not answering the question. Why is it? Why is the J.D. Vance meme? I can't describe that to you, but I instinctively understand. We all do. This is why memes are great, because they're not intellectual. They speak to us on a subconscious level. They speak to us on a level at a plane of understanding that is completely different than the mind and the intellect. And that's also the plane where art lives. That's where comedy lives. That's where music lives. AI has none of that, and it never will. Fu Man, you like the cloud analogy? Yeah, I think that's maybe the best way I can put it, is as a cloud is to the ocean, so the intellect is to the soul. And that's just how I see it. If anything, the intellect and the mind is a product of the soul. And see, that's why this is why the left can't meme, by the way. This is why woke storytelling is so bad. Do you want to know why? Because it's a strictly intellectual exercise. Think about that. If you are attempting to portray women as stunning and brave and powerful and girl bosses, all of that is intellectual. That's all about your ideology and what your mind is telling you about something. It's all about beliefs. And beliefs, by the way, are products of the mind, and therefore they can only be sustained by the mind. But the soul understands things like love, like the desire to protect one's child. You know what I'm saying? Those are things where there's no such language is not required. The mind is not the source of those things. The mind has its origins in the soul. And so when the intellect thinks that it can claim dominion over the natural world and the soul, it is the height of hubris, and it always results in failure. The reason the left is so bad at memeing is because they are lost in the intellect, whereas memeing actually comes from the natural state of comedy and having fun. Joy and fun are our natural state, and the intellect can't make you have fun. The intellect can't say, like, you're going to have fun. Okay, there's a great Star Trek Voyager episode in which Seven of Nine is having to be sort of the surrogate mother of 3 Borg drone children that were liberated from the collective. And she's kind of their surrogate mother, right? And she's trying to, like, she's trying to like raise them, but of course she's raising them the way the Borg would raise them, which is entirely mechanical and intellectual. And so she has these poor kids in this crazy, constant, like hyper helicopter mom schedule. Like they have to do exactly 90 minutes of study. Then they have to do 30 minutes of reading. Then they have to do 40 minutes of expression activities such as, clay or what. And they're miserable because everything they do is governed through like structural perfection. And I forget who, but someone on the crew tells Seven that like, listen, you're suffocating these poor kids. They need to be able to have fun. And she's like, fun is inefficient. And they're like, yeah, Seven, they're trying to explain to her, like, part of life is having fun, being spontaneous. Not everything has to be perfect. Not everything has to be on a schedule. Sometimes you just want to just do something for the hell of it. And so, like, she decides to incorporate fun into their schedule. And so she brings the kids into the mess hall. She gives each of them a block of clay or something like that. And she tells them 30 minutes has been designated for you to have fun. Fun will now commence. And they're miserable. They're miserable. They can't do anything. And it's like, why? Because 7 of 9 is attempting to impose joy and creativity and spontaneity from the place of intellect, which is not the seat of joy and creativity and fun. And so it's just making them miserable, and it's making it impossible for them to have fun. So that's a long way of me saying that I don't subscribe to the idea that the soul is just an algorithm. Maybe there's an algorithm that is far more advanced than anything we could imagine, but it's not the soul. Clouds contribute to the ocean, says Darth Merlin. Well, actually, clouds they do, but clouds are actually products of the ocean. The clouds come from the ocean because the energy from the sun evaporates water into the atmosphere, and then it's recycled and it falls back to the ocean. So really, all rivers and lakes are part of a watershed, which is draining the water back into the ocean. So actually, I think my analogy holds up there because the clouds came from the ocean and they return to the ocean. So it is with the mind and the soul. So listen, you're entitled to your beliefs. I'm not criticizing you if you have different beliefs than me, so don't misunderstand. But I really do think that the atheistic material, and I'm not saying that's what you're arguing, but I'm just saying generally the atheistic materialistic view of the universe, which is another way to put it, is the hyper-scientific view of the universe, to me, is like Frankenstein, who thinks he can outsmart and outthink death. It's hubris. It's arrogance. You are woefully mistaken if you think that way of looking at the universe describes even scratching the surface of what there is to understand. And the fact of the matter is, to have a full understanding of the universe, the mind is not even capable of that, and it never will be, in my view. I think that's why art is so important. It's why listen, music has a mathematical quality to it. But listening to music is not a mathematical exercise. It's not an intellectual exercise. Like dancing is not an intellectual thing. Why do people feel the urge to dance or to laugh or to sing or to watch K-pop Demon Hunters? I guarantee you it has absolutely nothing to do with the material universe. It has to do with the stuff of the ethereal. But I think I've pontificated on that enough. Returning to the article. Why writers have nothing to fear. And by the way, I read this article not just in service of writers, but in service of the audience. This is why, in my view, the audience has nothing to fear. Because great artists will always be able to break through. And they may wind up more in demand than they have ever been. People keep saying AI is going to take writers' jobs, goes the article. But honestly, I don't think so. I said earlier how businesses and their customers are pushing back on its overuse. Security concerns, too, will also restrict its use among businesses. And to be honest with you, I think a major AI bubble is rapidly approaching. It's useful, sure, but it doesn't do what its advocates claim it can or will be able to do. How can a booming AI industry thrive when it still I think they meant to say can't draw hands properly, still makes nightmare fuel videos, and which churns out waffle copy? In case of both readers and viewers, they want connection. Sure, some of the AI videos we see on socials are funny, but can that type of content sustain this behemoth that some AI companies are claiming it is? Trillions of dollars have been poured into this tech, and yet the results are still pretty underwhelming. AI can fill pages, but it can't build relationships. It can produce content, but it can't create trust. It can flood the internet with generic slop, but it can't write something that makes you laugh on a rough day or linger in your head for hours after reading. Trust me, I've tested it a lot. AI on its own is a bit of an idiot. It needs direct human involvement. That's how Grand Moff Tarkin says it. Direct human involvement to produce anything good. What AI will replace are the soulless, SEO-churned blogs that were already lifeless to begin with. In other words, the junk food of the writing world. The stuff no one reads twice, or watches twice. If anything, it could incentivize companies and book readers to invest more in human writers. People want to be engaged. They want soul. For proof of that, look no further than the crap coming out of Hollywood. Big budget movies with crappy writing flop all the time. People want human stories, things they can relate to, and plots that actually make sense and make them feel something. I think we'll be fine. What AI is actually good for? That's not to say AI is useless, far from it. Think of it as a writing companion who's helpful but a bit thick. It can proofread, often better than any human, that's definitely true. It can tidy up sentences. It can spitball ideas when you're stuck. It can summarize your copy and provide advice. It's great for boring parts of writing like the scaffolding description, not the soul. Used well, it's like having an assistant who does some of the heavy lifting so you can focus on the creative work that matters. Used badly, it's like handing over your voice to a robot and asking it to pretend it's you. No one wants that, and people can tell. All the panic about AI might actually be doing us writers a favor. It's reminding everyone what makes human writing special. When you read something that truly resonates, it's because there's a person behind it, someone who's lived, thought, and cared enough to shape their thoughts into words. That's not something you can code. AI can help you polish a sentence, but it can't give it meaning. It can't make a reader feel something real. It can't take a creative risk or tell you why it keeps writing even when it's hard. That's what we writers do. That's what we'll always do. To those who constantly bitch about AI, just shut up. It's a tool and nothing more. You bitch that the likes of Amazon is now filled with AI-created slop. Newsflash, Amazon has always been filled with low-quality slop. I know, I've been an indie author for a decade now, and the scammers, the slop artists, and the low-effort writers have always been and always will be an issue. If you blame AI for your book failing, it's not AI's fault, it's yours. Your book isn't good enough. It doesn't stand out enough. You haven't done enough to market it. Perhaps your writing just isn't good enough. To the rest of us who aren't totally whiny idiots, use AI or not. Let it tidy your grammar or help you brainstorm or not. But don't mistake it for a writer. It's just a tool, one more instrument in the creative process. So, hat tip, MS Olney's Substack. I fairly agree with that. A pretty outstanding analysis. And a much-needed white pill. Yes, Michael Archangel, the left could never meme. Definitely. No, but that being said, Darth Merlin, I appreciate your thoughts. Like, we live in a hyper, polarized world where I feel like people have gotten to a place where they're discouraged to disagree and discuss things. So, don't mistake what I'm saying. I'm not criticizing your idea. I'm just saying I enjoy discussing it. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. I appreciate that because, like I said, I really did used to kind of think along those lines, but I just have, especially the last 5 to 7 years, have really transformed the way that I see reality. And I just think that it's such it's science and the intellect and the mind are all important, and they're an important part of accomplishing things and discovering things and describing the universe, and they're helpful. Language is something that's very precious to me. But as Eckhart Tolle points out in The Power of Now, language is more like a sign that's pointing in a direction, but it can't give you the actual meaning of anything. The word cat, for example, it doesn't actually directly represent the beingness of a cat. Like, a cat can't really be described in a word. It simply is what it is. The word is a sign that's pointing towards something. And so that's how I view the intellect and science and its purpose in the world. It is a tool, a diagnostic and discovery tool, science specifically. The mind is a diagnostic and discovery tool that assists us in understanding certain things, but there's no tool that is universal and can accomplish everything. So, and I think that, especially in my youth, I was very obsessed with intellectualism. It was something I was very obsessed with vocabulary, and no surprise, the ego loves to feel intelligent, and the ego loves to feel in control. It loves to believe that we can describe everything and understand everything and know everything. It really hates it when we force it to admit that it honestly doesn't really know much of anything. And it's really that moment when you realize that you really don't know much of anything, and there's very little that's in your control. It's really then that you begin to find understanding, true understanding. When you begin to learn that words can't describe the things that are best in life. That's partly why it's so fun to write, because you're sort of aiming for that. You're aiming for sort of creating that. You want to create in the reader the feeling of the indescribable by describing it, which is paradoxical, but, it's all part of it. So, Okay, what else is in the stack of stuff? I think we need one probably to close it out, I think we need one to close it out, because we've had a good stream, covered a lot of material, and again, very excited about Godzilla Minus Zero, and I am strongly recommending Guillermo Del Toro's Frankenstein on Netflix. I think it's definitely a contender for one of the best films of the year. Really loved it. Incredibly entertaining. Very cool adaptation of the story. So there are good things out there. There are good things. Let's close it out with Fleekazoid, who is a nut job, an absolute nut job, and we love him for that. And he's talking about a game that I'm kind of just going out on a limb on this one. We'll see. If I'm into this video, we'll go with it. If not, I've got a backup. I've got a plan B. But I've never played Bloodlines, but this just looked like a fun video, so let's just roll with it and see what Fleek has to say about it. Okay, roll tape.
I hope you're not forgetting that little errand.
Suck me, beautiful.
What did you just say?
Bloodlines 2 is a failure. I know, all of you are shocked. But you know who isn't? Paradox. Before this game even came out, they were talking about how Bloodlines is a dead end, even if, God willing, it succeeds. After 10 years and hundreds of millions of dollars, it all boils down to Jesus, take the wheel. And before you start feeling bad for them, they wanted to charge you $22 for the boy kisser ability. Paradox? You can sell autism to the Crusaders Crusader Kings fans, they'd buy an incest season pass for $100, but you're not gonna do it to the vampire fans. Not on my watch. Now let's get into the game. First impressions are everything. And when the first thing you make me do when I boot up your game is make me install another launcher to boot up the game, I'll be honest, that pisses me off. Fortunately, they're dead.
Oh, that's so perfect. That's such a perfect description of modern games. You buy the game and the first thing you got to do is install another launcher for the game. You got to do like a 3-hour. You get an Xbox game, right? And you have to install it, and then you need to wait 72 hours for the game to fully update and patch in and get everything ready, and then you may begin playing your game. Long gone are the days where you bought a cartridge at Toys R Us, brought it home, put it in your Super NES, and you could play.
Around it by running the EXE directly. I mean, you won't get any cheap.
I don't think we fully even appreciate this, by the way. I remember the feeling of anticipation. You know, you just bought Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. It is still in the cellophane wrapping when you get in the car. It's cost you $70. You blew your whole allowance on it, but you have it. It's in your hands. You are in the car on the ride home. You cannot wait to get to your Super NES and play it. And on the car ride home, you are unwrapping the cellophane. You're opening the box. You're reading the little manual, which tells you the story of Link in the Kingdom of Hyrule. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, these are the controls, you know. And then just the absolute anticipation and energy as you're walking to your Super NES. You turn it on and you put it in and it loads and you can play. The knowledge that the second you are at your Super NES, you will be able to play. That's gone now. That's gone now. It's like, no. That's when you get home is when the 72-hour download begins.
But let's be honest, do you really want anyone knowing that you played this game? Bloodlines 2 plays like an ad for antidepressants. They've gotta stop letting these Tylenol babies make games, because shit's getting out of control. The first Bloodlines had
babies.
soul, it had depth, it had D-cups. This is Tumblr fanfic. It's nothing like Bloodlines 1. In fact, it's not really even an RPG. The only reason they even called it Bloodlines 2 is because, quote, it's what we were asked to do. You see that? They were just following orders. That reminds me of another group that was just following orders. That's right.
Imagine being a game designer and hating it. So listen, we were asked to do this, okay?
With Saints Row. Now, were you just following orders when they removed the gravity-defying sweater puppies? Were they just following orders when they removed the Shakespearean-level dialogue?
No more Yankee my wanky.
Tell me, were you just following orders when you removed the playable Tylenol baby clan?
Damn, man. Don't be sneaking up on a brother with your crackhead skin disease test tube baby looking ass.
Were they just following orders when they wanted you to bang grandma? What's the point in digging up a franchise just to rebury it and piss on its grave? Haven't these goth twinks suffered enough? To kick us off, the worst part about Bloodlines 2 is that originally they were planning on making a good game, but then Paradox realized making something that was faithful to the original would take too long, so they shit-canned the first version of the game, and in a lightning fast 10 years made a melee-only action game with no...
In a lightning fast 10 years. That is so true, man. That's like that's like the next Elder Scrolls. That's the next Mass Effect. Like in a lightning fast 10 years, they made Dragon Age Veilguard total garbage. Dude, that's James Cameron's Avatar. In a lightning fast 13 years, he made a super mediocre film with lots of plot holes. It's just unbelievable.
Melee weapons. Following that, let's make some comparisons. Bloodlines 2 is just like the original game, except it's missing everything. There's no guns, no melee weapons, no branching story besides the ending, no stats, no character creation, no inventory, no hacking.
Damn it, Wade!
And you can't suck off the rats anymore. And there's no difference in blood quality anymore. In the original game, you'd find yourself a high tax bracket queen that could give you a whole lot of blood, drizzle drizzle. You go sucking off a homeless guy with high cholesterol, you're just not gonna get as much blood out of him. That makes sense, right? Now it doesn't fucking matter. In fact, nothing matters because this is a role-playing game without role-playing. Your choices don't matter, your actions don't matter, your dialogue doesn't matter, and who you are doesn't matter. I could bend your ear off all day about every choice that doesn't matter, but it's easier if I just talk about the one choice that does matter. Are you going to rage bait Karens into getting Spartan kicked by the police? It's very easy. Insult them, then walk up to an officer and they'll shoot on sight. Seattle PD doesn't mess around. They see you littering, they'll treat you to some 9mm mouthwash without missing a beat. Don't look at me like that.
9mm
do it to the
mouthwash.
hobos too if you want, you sick son of a bitch. For your decisions to matter, people would have to care.
Dude, perfect example. AI could never do what Fleek does. AI will never be able to replicate what Fleek does. He is so fucking funny.
And this game is set in 2024. No one gives a fuck anymore. Cops don't even care when you suck them off in the middle of the street. And you know why? Because this is an average weekend in Seattle. You think you're the first one to do that to him this month? This week? This hour? He's more offended that you didn't smack him on the ass on the way out. And yeah, that's actually where this game is set. And I think Seattle was a great choice for a setting. If I had just one complaint, I've been to Seattle, I've walked around Seattle.
You know what? I think I know what he's even going to say because I was just thinking it. Having been to Seattle myself, I could tell you it is not this clean. It is not this clean. There's graffiti all over everything. There's homeless tents everywhere. I literally walked by a homeless tent. I smelled human poop. I absolutely smelled human poop. It's a beautiful city, but it is not clean like this.
Seattle. I've eaten their local cuisine, and I gotta say, they forgot all the best parts about this city. Where are the fence zombies? Where are the lemonade stands with armed guards? Where are the bananas behind plexiglass? You keep giving me side missions where I jump some dude in an alley. Give me quest lines where I loot Walgreens and freebase crack outside of a cheesecake factory. Alright, now let's cleanse the palate with a little Steam review. I give it a 3 out of 10. Thumbs up.
That's a good one.
Stealth is optional. No, I wasn't talking to you. That's what the devs must have been told, considering they forgot it. Even if you sneak through an area perfectly, the game still demands that you come back to kill everybody in order to move on. And the problem is, the combat is ass. Finally, something that's faithful to the original game. It's floaty, it's impactless, and it was funny because on the first clan I chose, my punching animations was throwing gang signs. So I go peace, love, harmony. I'm like, Naruto, you must suck me. What the hell's with this whole fisheye lens? Between all the fisheye and the smooching and the sucking, this looks like a found footage version of Brokeback Mountain. The crutch of the combat is the abilities. Abilities operate on a skill bar system that you recharge by sucking people off. Want to burst them like a grape? Want to punch the hell out of them? Want to kiss them? Want to dive tackle them? Start sucking, buddy. But why the hell am I explaining this game's shitty combat system? All that silly goose activity has got me actually talking about the game in this review. Enough of that. You don't care. I'm trying to forget. Listen, lure police to any base and they'll kill everyone in it. I'm not ashamed to admit that I actually found this pretty fun. And that was my mistake. Because the game senses when you have fun and puts an end to that shit immediately by throwing an hour-long detective flashback at you. And in these mandatory flashbacks, all you can do is walk and talk. And pimp, the
Oh my
last
God,
thing you
that
wanna
sounds
do in this
excruciating.
game is listen to anyone talk.
I'm your go-to gal for fun times at the OK Camarilla.
Paradox? As long as I've got you on the horn, though, not Chinese room, why are we cradle robbing a 90-year-old woman? We're 800 years old, you sick fuck! As for the facial animations, the faces look good, but the eyes, Chico, the eyes! They all have that 1,000 suck stare. They've sucked so many, the emotion is gone. It's like they serve...
Why are we cradle robbing a 90-year-old woman? We're 800 years old. That's probably not that funny, but it got me.
in Iwo Jima, they're shell-shocked from the years of taking all those loads of blood. And I have the same look after doing these side quests. No matter how hard they suck, they'll never suck as hard as these side quests. They are trash. We went from hunting serial killers to door-dashing Plan B and Doritos Locos Tacos. Next, I can
Those
positively
Doritos
say
Locos
that the main
Tacos sounds just perfect when I wrap up this stream.
story is something they wrote, then recorded, then put into the game. Now, I'm not saying this dialogue is so bad that I won't even talk about it.
This meme is so funny. If you No Country for Old Men is like, so Javier Bardem, who plays just this psychopathic cartel enforcer hitman, he hated playing that character because his hair looked so bad and so dorky, that was part of the character. Like, his hair looked odd. He was odd and off-putting, there's just something uncanny valley about him, and that was exactly how he was supposed to be. But Javier Bardem famously hated that. He hated looking like such a frumpy weirdo, but it worked so well for that movie. But this meme is just hilarious.
But I will say that I'm going to avoid talking about it by smashing my nuts on a tree, jump scaring you, and ending the video.
Test tube, baby, look at ass.
Thanks to the flock of pimps and pimperers, and another huge thanks to everyone.
Thanks to the flock of pimps. Dude. I love some Fleekazoid. Guy is nuts. In the best way. It's like controlled chaos, that guy. I really love it. It's a beautiful city, but smells like ass, says Michael Archangel. Dude, Fu Man Blue, you have just shilled everything I have. My Galaxyborn, www.galaxyborn.com. Blood and Oak, www.bloodandoak.com, and our Discord, and something else. I don't even know what it was. Can I do this? Can I give drop gifties? Just drop some gifted memberships. There you go. Bam. I want everybody to be able to join our member stream. We are going to do K-Pop Demon Hunters live on Tuesday night at, I think we'll probably do like 4 p.m. Eastern. Let's see. Star Fury received a gifted membership. Star Fury got one. I don't have any idea how these work. I just dropped 5 in the chat. So I feel like Fu Man and Michael Archangel should get one. I don't know why it's not giving them one. I think it just, I don't even understand how YouTube decides. I figure like the people that have been in the chat all night should be getting them, but. And then around Christmas time, Christmas week, probably maybe like the 22nd or 23rd, I'm probably thinking. I don't know. I feel like it's a little presumptuous to do like Christmas Eve because people are going to be busy and stuff. So I don't think I could actually do on the day. I do feel like that'd be fun though. I feel like I would love being on a member stream on Christmas. Screw my family. Screw them. I'd much rather do Godzilla Minus One with you. It's random across all subscribers, says Fu Man. Fu Man, I'm already a member. I know, Fu Man. I wanted to like give you some extra membership though, like extend the membership. So in any case, well, I threw them out there. So gifted memberships flying. But we'll have some fun. We'll do a Godzilla Minus One watch along. We'll do K-Pop Demon Hunters. Maybe we'll do a watch party for Stranger Things. I'll think about that. Maybe we'll do a watch party for Stranger Things. I'm usually... I mean, the last time Stranger Things came out, let's see. Did I have this channel at that time? I don't think I did. I don't think I had really gotten this channel going at that time. So I've only ever experienced Stranger Things as kind of like a private thing. So I don't know. I think we probably have to. So Can't wait for the watches, says Fu Man. Well, I appreciate that, Fu Man. It does sound fun, doesn't it? I think it sounds great. I think it sounds really great. Let's see. And by the way, I have a new clip that just in case I need it. I don't need it yet, but it's just in case we get like any trolls or haters. I have a fun one for us.
Does this mean we're not friends anymore? You know, if I thought you weren't my friend, I just don't think I could bear it.
There you go. Hopefully the sound was activated. I'm pretty sure it was. Pretty sure. Mr. Producer, what are we looking for? That's what we need. Come on, we got it. We have to wrap it up. We don't want to overstay our welcome here. There it is. Yes. It's that time. My dear sailors and starnauts, we've had a great stream. Lots of fun. Mostly good news. It's been mostly good, positive, white pill news. Writers don't have anything to fear from AI, and I agree. Frankenstein by Guillermo Del Toro was brilliant and magnificent. Godzilla Minus Zero is shaping up to be great. Some people not liking the title notwithstanding. And even the wacko actors are starting to figure it out that we are not listening to the bullshit anymore. And Jennifer Lawrence has waved the white flag. She's given up. Sydney Sweeney is shutting down wacko reporter cows. It's a great day to be alive, ain't it? So if you enjoyed the stream and you enjoyed the content, make sure you put a like on that video. Check out the description because you can join our Discord. And you can join the email list for the upcoming Galaxy-born novel series. I am contributing to the canon of science fiction, and it will be masculine, plenty of babes too, lots of fun in the galaxy and an optimistic future for humanity, military science fiction par excellence. So go to www.galaxyborn.com and sign up for the list. Thanks for hanging out with me, Michael Archangel, Fu Man Blue, Staff Yeti, Darth Melvin, a couple of lurkers, Steven, Mandalo, and anyone I forgot, Crowbar the Skull. It's been a barn burner. Until next time, I am Captain Garrett, and I will see you out there.